racing, boys!
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Oh, yeah!
He's got
Johnson,
it! 48!
his third Las Vegas victory in a row.
Can you say three-peat?
Cha-ching!
Love it when it's four wide. Love it when it's fast. Love it when the leaders cross the line is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear the W say.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Viva Las Vegas, boys! Go
Let's
racing!
go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys.
Fox Sports welcomes you to Las Vegas, where everything and everybody is a show. Today, America's best drivers take to a 1.5 mile stage. Jimmy Johnson has been the showstopper here, winning the last 3 races at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. More than 150,000 people in attendance. There are high stakes in the high desert, and there'll be high drama in high def. This is NASCAR on Fox. It's windy and sunny at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Remember, what happens in Vegas, you'll be able to see from the best seat in the house. And you've been comped into the Hollywood Hotel and Casino. We're ringside on this sunny, windy day. It's where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR, along with Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. Thanks for being with us. They thought MGM was a Roman number, but they're catching on. Hey, we kid because we care.
Not carrying luggage this time.
Okay, he's a
I'm
team.
not valeting cars.
He's a team
That's it.
player.
I'm through with that.
We got our high def makeup. I look like Andy Rooney without that high def makeup. Okay, so it really helps. All right. Hey,
Mickey Rooney.
all right, Mickey Rooney's first. All right, 2 races in. This is our 3rd race. What's catching your attention so far?
You know what I've noticed a lot is teamwork. The drivers today seem to embrace that concept a lot more than maybe some of us drivers from the past. Working together. Think about last week at California, for instance. Jeff Gordon's out there, got a mile lead on everybody, gets paper on his grill, slows down, lets his teammate Jimmy Johnson come up. He gets in behind him, sucks the paper off his grill, and he continues on. And if you look at the finish from Daytona, all team cars working together.
Yeah, but when it comes to Las Vegas, Chris, you got to be looking at the fact that this is a big money race. It's the 5th highest paying, as far as the winner's concerned, over $400,000. And when you think about big money races, well, you got to come up with guys like Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart. They're going to be up there, really going for it here today. This is a race you really want to win.
All right, Friday and Saturday, we've already had 9 crashes, Darrell, in practice and in qualifying. Is it the drivers at the track?
Oh, this track's a lot like Dick Bergman. It's just matured a lot from a year ago, and it's aging. And I think the track's lost some grip, and the guys came here and tested. Totally different climate conditions. It was cool, overcast. They thought these cars really had a lot of grip. They've struggled here this week trying to get a setup that'll work on this slick, hot racetrack.
And on top of all that, you've got wind going up today, these big gusts and everything like that. It's really going to wreak havoc on this. What you saw earlier this week, you're going to see more of today. A lot of wrecks probably.
There is a wind advisory. That's not just me talking.
Shut that door.
Gust up to 40 miles per hour. All right, this is the 3rd of 36 races in the Sprint Cup schedule, but after last weekend, the season already feels like a marathon. The race at the Auto Club Speedway turned into the 24 hours of Fontana. We had 87 laps that were run. There were red flags, there were yellow flags, eventually white flags weeping to the water from below the track surface. A surrender to the rain. The race officially stopped about 2 a.m. Eastern time. But we did want to thank the millions and the millions of viewers who stuck by and watched through thick and thin and wet and dry. We really appreciate that. And we invited you to go to foxsports.com and help name the Gopher in our new Gopher Cam. That's the camera embedded into the track that gives us an exceptional subterranean view.
That. Is that anywhere near the Mediterranean?
No, it's different. But after 400,000 hits on our website, we have a winner. You named the Gopher Cam Digger.
Digger!
What do you think?
I like Digger.
I think
it can be
cool.
Digger, little Digger. It sounds good. He's down in that hole and he's digging, baby.
Oh, no, I appreciate all the fans that voted for him.
Oh, yeah.
That was
right. Welcome to our team, Digger.
Yeah.
And we had a great time thinking of the names for Gopher Cam, waiting for the track to dry and interviewing drivers and making Dick Bergman old age jokes. But on Monday, it was time to once again, as the song says, Darrell, right? Let's go.
Yeah, biggity, biggity, biggity. Let's go racing, boys. Viva Las Vegas. Well, I got him now, boys. I'm going to reel him in.
Carl Edwards wins the Auto Club 500, backflips his way into victory lane.
And joining us from down on the track, the driver of the 99, Roush Fenway Ford, the winner last week. He shares the front row with pole sitter Kyle Busch today, Carl Edwards. And Carl, thanks for being with us. Congrats on the win. And with the wind today and this track, what we've seen this weekend, what kind of race can we expect?
I think we're going to have a really good race. I think it's going to be a wild one, though. I'm just glad I stole Dick Bergeron's headphones so he couldn't hear all that stuff. He's over there just smiling like this must be great. But no, it's going to be a wild race. You know, the wind is real high, like you guys talked about. It's going the exact opposite direction it was yesterday. So I don't know exactly what that's going to do to turns 1 and 2. But, you know, like you said, it's slippery. I mean, you really got to drive these race cars. It's going to be a wild race.
Well, Carl, coming in here, you guys are on a roll winning at California, and you came so close to getting that pole the other day, right there at the end. It looked like you put down the perfect lap, but your buddy Kyle Busch right there, all of a sudden, he kind of snookered and jumped in there and took out and away from you.
Yeah, Kyle's got a little bit of that, you know, that hometown motivation going on here, and he did it, man. But I told my guys, I said he can have it. I couldn't have run his lap if I had 100 tries. I was shaking after I got out of mine. So, you know, it was a good lap for us, so it got us a good pit stall, and you know, hopefully we can just hold him off. There's some fast cars out here today.
Hey, Carl, it's DW, and now trust me, I'm not trying to start it. Where do you start?
There you are.
We're starting second.
Who's starting third?
Mark Martin's starting third.
And had a little problem yesterday in the closing laps.
Yeah, he better stay out of my way. That's all I have to say.
Oh, boy. Now that's my Carl right there. Yeah, I just wondered.
No.
You were awfully nice to him for what happened yesterday.
No, we're good. I mean, I thought about it while I was sitting there banging off the wall. And I thought, man, I can't think of a time when Mark Martin wrecked somebody on purpose. He had to do that as a mistake, and he called me right after the race, and it meant a lot what he said. You know, Victory Lane told his guys, hey, we can't celebrate. That ain't the way we win, and that meant a lot. Mark's a heck of a guy. That's why we wear helmets. I mean, we're racing, and you know, if I thought it was intentional, I'd have been mad. I know it wasn't intentional.
So no carryover.
No carryover.
Win it, Darryl.
Hey,
Win it.
You know, if Mark's leading off turn 4, you know, and that's it checkered, you never know.
Before we let you go, while we're on this, fans ask us about Matt Kenseth, your relationship. Darryl talked about teammates, so off to a great start this year. How is that relationship with Matt Kenseth?
It's good. It's good. You know, he was one of the first guys to call last week and congratulate me. And, you know, the bigger picture what happened between us last year was one day. And the bigger picture is, you know, he sacrificed his personal team with, you know, Robbie Reiser being able to go to managerial position at Roush Fenway. And we all know that. And we all appreciate that. And we're all working together. And I think we're stronger than we've ever been.
Great. Well, thanks for handling the questions. Have a great race, Carl.
Thanks.
And I'm not trying to start anything, Carl. Really,
Darryl, quit it.
It's cool.
We hope to see the backflip. That's always entertaining.
Good luck, buddy.
We
Good
thank
job.
Carl Edwards for that.
You better watch that Roush bunch, because what's been going on so far, they're starting to work together, like Darryl said, like a team more than ever. And they could be really tough here.
People ask me all the time, pick a driver that you'd like to have start a team with. That's my pick.
Yep.
I love that guy. He can get it done, and I love his attitude, and he's a great driver.
Got some passion, too, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I like that. A little fire.
If Mark Martin's in his way, we'll watch for that. All right, we have more cameras, more reporters here than any Vegas hotel, and our team doesn't need to hide behind mirrors. So let's start our Fox Watch up in the booth. Our car counters, Larry McReynolds and Mike Joy. Guys?
I'm still reeling from the "we're not trying to start anything" comment, but that's okay. We've had, as you mentioned, 9 crashes in the Cup Series this weekend involving 10 cars, and yesterday, Larry, record number of cautions, 16 cars wrecked. Turn 4 has been Calamity Corner. There's a 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts across turn number 2. What do you expect? How do you compensate?
Well, I think Jeff Hammond said it best. There's no question that wind is going to play havoc with these guys, because the last 2 days we've not had a lot of wind, and these guys, you're just always on the edge here, because you're at a 1.5 mile racetrack and you're running speeds getting off in the corner faster than we did at Daytona 2 weeks ago. So you're right on the edge anyhow. You can run side by side here, but the problem is turn 2 and turn 4. It narrows down, and that's where you got to be careful, especially with that wind pushing these cars around.
I expect Digger will be tunneling for cover long before this one's over, Chris.
All right, we'll keep an eye on Digger. Our gopher. Let's check in with our team of pit reporters. Headlining in Vegas, Dick Bergman, Steve Burns, Matt Yoakum, and Krista Voda. We start our Fox Pit Watch with Krista. Hey, Krista.
Despite leading 111 laps last year, Jeff Gordon did not win this race. Now Big Daddy wants a date with Lady Luck. I'll talk to Jeff Gordon.
One driver chasing a number of historical marks in 2008. The first item on the agenda, a four-peat right here in Las Vegas.
I'm going to ask NASCAR's most popular driver the question you want the answer to.
Kyle Busch is the hottest thing on 4 wheels. He's on the pole position and a Vegas native. Does his hot streak continue? We'll ask him.
All right, thanks, Steve. We have a lot more to go here from Las Vegas. Here's what's around the turn. Hometown driver Kyle Busch spending some time with the local school kids, and their questions were harder than concrete. Find out if the points leader gets straight A's or detention. And Jeff Hammond goes under the hood. at one of Las Vegas's biggest attractions to see how it works. Plus 3 and 4 wide, that's amazing, but master magician Lance Burton shows us some of his own magic tricks. And the drivers reveal their hand and tell us the person they want to meet most on today's hit list. Plus, DW and Jeff do some trash talking in the AutoZone pit zone. And another show of gas and go. That's all before the final curtain. We're glad you're with us. Wow, for NASCAR on On Thursday, Jamie McMurray hopped into a helicopter and took to the skies over the Vegas Strip. His sponsors promoting a contest with a lucky fan winning the official naming rights of the Sprint Cup race in Richmond on May 3rd. Today's race, 267 laps, 400 miles. About a mile, though, from this track is Nellis Air Force Base, home of the great men and women of our armed forces. Jamie McMurray also so dedicated to speed that he grabbed our crew chief, Jeff Hammond, from the Hollywood Hotel, and they went above and beyond the call of duty as the U.S. Thunderbirds were kind enough to take him for a ride in F-16 Fighting Falcons.
If that's made for his age, you better get a bigger one. Up front here, we'll get started. All right, buddy. Then we're gonna do a 9-inch pass. Ready? Here we go. And push. That was 9.3 Gs. That's great. You're way over half the time right there. Woo! Here we go. Yeah. On our backs. On our backs. Here we go. Yeah. NASCAR on Fox. Racing at the speed of sound.
Jeff, you went over 9 Gs?
Yeah, that's about what I lost last night on the crap table.
I didn't know that. You're a sick person.
How fast did you go? So what?
About Mach 1.
Okay, so
yeah, well over 600 miles.
600 miles per hour.
Yeah.
All right, so Darryl,
I like the way he talks that lingo.
that's what I was going to try to look that up. All right, so on the ground, right? Yeah. You drive. What's the fastest you've ever raced out there?
About 230.
230. That's impressive.
230. Yeah.
Where'd you go 230 at?
It wasn't in your car. I can tell you that.
All right.
Somebody else's.
Jeff has his own airline. It's called Air Grits, I think is what they call it. All right, in Las Vegas, when you're hot, you're hot, and nobody's been hotter here than Jimmy Johnson. If this was a casino, he'd be asked to leave. Today, he's going for his 4th straight Las Vegas win.
Three straight trips to Las Vegas, 3 big deposit slips on Monday. He'll go for a 4th today, but taking into account the entire weekend, Jimmy, what's the biggest challenge for you today?
I'd say the biggest challenge is the start of the race to get through traffic. A lot of guys don't have good driving race cars. The winds are going to pose some problems. So I think getting through the first 30, 40 laps is going to be the biggest challenge for me today.
Now, you can make a lot of history this year. Yeah, you're chasing Cale Yarborough 3 straight titles, but you can bookend the month of March with 4-peats. And then if you have a little bit of luck at Richmond going into the fall, you can have a 4-peat there.
I hadn't thought about all that. Thanks for reminding me.
Motivation.
Motivation, absolutely. We had an amazing year last year, and we certainly hope to have a great year like that this year. But competition's tough, and I have no clue how today's going to turn out or those other ones. But we're going to try really hard, and we're very excited this weekend. Lowe's is here with all of their store managers, and there'll be a big section of them over in Turn 3. So I'll have a lot of moral support, and I look forward to today's race.
Well, it's only happened twice since the mid-'80s, and actually he's one of the guys that's done it. He did it at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, Chris.
All right, thanks, Matt. Jimmy starts from row 17 today, 2nd last week, 27th at Daytona. He didn't win his first race of the year last year until this time, so this is where he kind of gets it going.
Yeah, and where he starts really is not, I don't think that's that big a deal. He started 23rd here last year and won the race. The winner, the pole setter has never won this race.
Right, front row, right?
Yeah, front row's never won this race. So starting back here is not that big a deal, but he did hit the nail on the head. Traffic. That's going to be hard.
He's got to be careful
cars.
working through there. But the key thing is, Darryl, at least looking at the practice charts, he's been in the top 10 as far as the 2 practices we had yesterday. And I think that's the key. If the car is working well for him, he and Chad Knaus will make the necessary adjustments to be a contender.
Is Hendrick at all concerned after the first 2 races, or no, as far as a team?
I don't think so. The 24 and the 48 got off to bad starts last year, overcame it, and by the chase when they started in the chase, Jeff Gordon had a 400-point lead. So they're in good shape right now. But remember, folks, this is a 26-race season, not a 36. People talk 36. Those last 10 are totally separate.
But they've already jumped back up there in contention. All they got to do is be in the top 12. That's all you got to worry about. Top 12.
This race is a sellout, further proof of the ever-growing popularity of NASCAR. And a group of drivers who were big-name stars in open-wheel Indy cars have joined the Sprint Cup Series. The open-wheelers include Dario Franchitti and Sam Hornish Jr.
Hey, I'm Sam Hornish Jr. Hey, I'm Dario Franchitti. I won the 2007 Indianapolis 500, only the second Scottish driver to do that. Oh yeah, and we won the IndyCar Championship too. Back in 2006, I won the Indianapolis 500 as well. Since I was the first 2-time IndyCar Series champion, I figured I'd throw in the 3rd one just for good measure. I've won many races and many championships, but in 2008, I'm going to be a rookie, and I'm going for Rookie of the Year. Off track, I love Mexican food. Burrito, taco, enchilada, whatever. I like it hot. The spicier the better. Away from the track, I like to unwind by flying my helicopter. It's a great place to get away from the stresses of the job. I'm Dario Franchitti. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the track.
And another open-wheeler, Canada's Patrick Carpentier, starts from row 6 today. This is his first race of this season.
I think this group of rookies is probably more evenly matched than we've seen in a long time. And let me tell you why. This is the first time in the modern era that we've had 3 rookies tied for the point lead this early in the season. Sam, Dario, and Regan Smith. Right. Regan actually has the most experience of all those guys. So real tight battle for Rookie of the Year.
Sam Hornish Jr., one of those drivers involved in that fiery crash. And drivers always say fire more than anything worries them, but he was okay.
He was definitely okay. Again, what was fortunate was the fact the safety stuff that was there. But if you notice, all of a sudden the safety workers themselves, they were there almost immediately. You see Sam Hornish putting the winning net down, but all of a sudden you see NASCAR officials, firemen, other safety workers rushing to their aid. That was what was impressive, was how quick NASCAR was able to respond to that emergency.
It reminds me of my wife's cooking when I see that happen. I kid because I'm
going to tell on you.
Oh, no, because I care.
That's a place you shouldn't care right there.
You're right. I should not. I must take advice from these guys. Play AT&T's Fantasy Racing Challenge. Text in the car number you think will win, 2258. See how you do. Play all season long. You have a chance to win $31,000 plus other great prizes. And we appreciate you playing along. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will talk with us coming up. Last night in Las Vegas, Ray Romano was a headline act, but today everybody loves NASCAR on Fox. We'll be back in a moment. NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the Ultimate Recipe Showdown menu at TGI Fridays. Give me more Fridays. By Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car. Sunoco, it's what's inside. By the new AT&T. Your world delivered. And by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
What is consistent is Jeff Burton. Burton in that 31. He has owned his game today.
Point standings after just 2. Remember, Darrell said 26 races before the chase, 36 overall. Kyle Busch leading for the first time in his career. We'll hear from him in a moment. 2-time Vegas Cup winner Jeff Burton rounding out the top 10 as we see the remaining group. And Denny Hamlin, a guy who has to get it going.
He needs to pick it up a little bit. He's back here in 31st place. He's got to pick it up.
All right, this week, all the headliners a bit jealous of the publicity that went to the NASCAR haulers as the drivers showed up in town. Part of the Las Vegas Strip was closed down to welcome the big rigs. This town loves NASCAR.
And you know something, Chris, I didn't realize this, but that's only the second time the strip's ever been closed. I think the other time, I believe I'm right, was for Lance Armstrong.
And that's rare. It's tough to close down that thing.
And see, I thought it was the first time that Darrell Waltrip came to Las Vegas.
They would close it down for him.
We did go down and open up a NASCAR cafe. That was a big deal.
Oh, that was good. You can read about it at dwstore.com. All right, I plugged because I care. Kyle Busch is one of the favorites for today's 400-mile race. The 22-year-old who grew up here in Las Vegas is no longer just Kurt's little brother. He's a big star who hasn't forgotten his own roots, and that makes Kyle the perfect person to visit a local elementary school and take on everyone and everything.
Here we are at the elementary school, Gene Ward Elementary. Just here to see the kids and see what kind of tough questions they have today. They come up with the most interrogating questions, I'm telling you. So let's go check it out. Anybody have any questions? First hand? Oh, all right. Am I married? What is the bump draft? Do I crash?
How do you put the steering wheel on?
Do I win more than the 24 car?
Do you have a computer ad? Is the engine pack different on Toyota?
Is the engine package different in the Toyota? What does NASCAR mean? All right, I like your haircut, by the way. It's pretty cool. I might get that here tomorrow.
Have you had any bad crashes?
I've had a crash where I flipped over 7 times. And then when it was all done, I caught on fire. And then after it caught on fire, it blew up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, what are your goals for this season?
My goals for this season, they're to run up front to try to win the championship and to win as many races as I possibly can.
Is it fun being a race driver?
It's definitely fun being a race driver. I love it.
DW says you're the only driver who can race 3 wide by yourself. What did he mean by that?
Well, I think what he means by that is I'm the only crazy enough guy to race out there by myself all over the racetrack. I can go from the top to the bottom, everywhere, and it freaks everybody out behind me, so it just scares them out of the throttle, so that means I can pull away to a victory.
Do you think Mr. Hendrick has seller's remorse?
Well, why don't we go ask him in Homestead? Well, it's neat to be able to come back to the hometown and be able to go to a local school and see what the kids are up to nowadays. And I remember being in their shoes once and always looking to have somebody to look up to. And so hopefully for me, I can be that person to them and give them something to look up to and something to have them reach for the stars in order to go after their dreams.
What are you here for?
Cafeteria pizza. Is that your limo over there?
I'm Jake. I'm kind of a big shot.
And it's been a busy weekend for Kyle Busch, and qualifying on Friday put the M&M's car on the pole position in his Toyota. And in the Nationwide Series, things got a little bumpy, trying to go for a pole run, put that car into the wall, just scraped it a little bit. And then in yesterday's race, making a charge to the front. Unfortunately, the day ended a little bit early. It looked like Kyle Busch was going to pick up another win here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But this morning, a charity walk. Kyle Busch has been a busy man here in Las Vegas. And Kyle, when your career started here in Las Vegas, did you ever dream that you'd be leading the points in 2 of NASCAR's 3 Premier Series at this level?
No, I can't say that I ever did, but that Jake kid, he is a big deal. He was the man there at the school. Everybody was looking to him, and so that's why he was with us. But no, I'm kidding. Here in Vegas, it's just fun to come out here and do the things that I do and go to the school and, of course, go to In-N-Out Burger. We did some of that and went out to the sand dunes and, did a charity walk here. Last year, we did riding with some go-karts and stuff like that. So, it's always fun to come out here and be able to, live it up a little bit. I mean, it is my hometown and whatnot. And it is Las Vegas. So, people always love to come out here for the bright lights and whatnot, but we come out here for the atmosphere of the racing.
Kyle, you were watching the piece a minute ago. Did you have fun watching it and the kids?
Yeah, I think I had more fun watching it than probably the kids did having it. It was just kind of cool to see them and to go out and hang with them a little bit and go to the school. And I tell you what, man, them questions were pretty tough. They were awesome in writing them down and knowing what they wanted to ask.
I like the seller's remorse personally, but by the way, Chris, Vegas has it 10-1. That might be a good play right here.
Yes, we'll run through all the odds, Steve. Thank you very much.
That was a great piece. I love that piece. But just remember, the guys that all said what a bad boy he was last year, that's us, right?
Yes, we were.
And now here we are a year later saying what a good guy he is and what a great driver he is. But he has proven himself these first few races this year.
Well, reminds me of Darrell Waltrip.
Yes, he had
turned himself around.
Yeah, he's matured in 1 year. It's amazing how smart we have all gotten. But how about the Hendrick, the remorse question? But not a knock on Rick Hendrick, but Joe Gibbs, who worked with Tony Stewart. Maybe is that a good thing for Kyle Busch, having a guy like him overseeing him?
I think so. I think the key thing right now has to be the fact that everybody fits somewhere. And right now it looks like Kyle Busch is fitting into the Joe Gibbs organization, which is fantastic because we all want to do well. We want to see guys be successful. And I think this young man right now is showing a lot of maturity. And you got to lay it in the direction of the Gibbs
It's like a quarterback free agent.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You use a football. And you take a football player or from one team, put him in another system, and he shines. And that's what he's able to do in this system. He's able to shine. Right. He might have been a bad boy, but he's a real good man.
Bad is a good bad. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, NASCAR version of NFL free agency during last season, Hendrick Motorsports made that decision to sever ties with Kyle and then replace him with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Kyle would later sign with Joe Gibbs Racing. As for Junior, he's with our senior, Dick Berger.
Oh, well, today car number 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr., starts in the 8th position. So this is the Las Vegas area, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What are the odds that car number 88 is going to wind up in victory lane today? Is today your lucky day?
We got a good car. We tested really good, and we've been great all weekend. So we had some pretty bad luck last week, and we just want to work really hard to get the finish we need and the finish the car can get today so we can get the points back and get back up there. So I'm pretty excited, and the team's worked hard. They've really dedicated themselves and give me a good car, so we'll try to take care of it today.
Well, that grandstand full of your fans will be cheering you on. Chris?
All right, thanks, Dick. And Dick Berggren is so old that he once dated the Queen of Hearts. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, we kid, Dick, because we care. A junior, a senior, we couldn't pass that up. How about Junior on this track today?
I like him a lot because of the fact right now he's been in the top 10 of every one of the practices. He qualified 8th, and it looks like, as far as the Hendrick guys are concerned, you know, they've got their program worked out. He was good last week at California. Got victimized, but today he can maybe turn it around and get it to victory lane.
I think with Junior, it's like starting all over. Like he drove for DEI. I mean, that's the only ride he had. And now he's over at a new organization with everything brand new. And I think he's adjusting and he's adapting well. I look for great things out of him the rest of the year.
All right, we'll continue here. I wanted to mention Executive Chef Franklin Becker of Brasserie in New York City showed his gratitude toward the Fox Sports Supports Autism Speaks initiative by cooking a meal earlier today for our entire NASCAR on Fox production crew, and we're thankful for his support in the fight against autism. And for more information and how you might be able to help, please visit autismspeaks.org. We appreciate that. Coming up, hey, maybe Ryan Newman heard Darrell talking about quarterbacks and free agency. Matt Kenseth, who's won twice here in Las Vegas, Jeff Burt, they're getting ready to roll. It's windy but sunny here in Las Vegas. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
One of my favorite places to hang out in Las Vegas has to be the fountains of Bellagio. You know, the ones you've seen at Ocean's 11, for example? Hey, I love to watch. But of course, the water dances to the greats. Bocelli, Pavarotti, Sinatra. But today, they left me up here alone.
Can't wait to hear the double show.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys.
All right, the song you just heard, NASCAR Love, available for downloading on iTunes. You can also download the ringtone from Jamster.com. So think DW on your iPod. Coming next, Jeff Hammond on your nerves. But that was good. That was a neat little bit.
I'm looking out for you, buddy.
No, I love that, man. Good job. You were really spouting
making that water dance.
So the fountains at the Bellagio really were working to the music.
It was unbelievable,
Really?
Chris.
Okay.
I mean, it's modern technology at its finest.
If that's
you know nothing about.
If that's the fountain of youth, get Dick Berggren to jump in.
Right.
All right, Jeff Gordon is one of just a...
It'll turn the water rusty.
Jeff Gordon's a handful of drivers who have participated in all 11 Las Vegas races. He's won here, he's lost here. No matter where he finishes, though, Jeff always provides what this town appreciates, a good show.
There's a man going around taking names.
Jeff Gordon's a winner.
The hairs on your arm will stand up.
Jeff Gordon arguably is the best driver that's ever been in this sport.
When the man comes around.
I'm so fired up here.
In Vegas, if you don't like a blackjack table, you just get up and move. You can't do that with racetracks. Now, Jeff Gordon likes this racetrack. The big question, though, today, do you like your race car?
Well, I certainly did yesterday. You know, this car, the Impala, is definitely a finicky race car. And, you know, we had some moments yesterday where the car was awesome and other moments where we were questioning some things. But really excited about this DuPont Nicorette team and the way that they've been performing this year already in a short time. You know, we've had fast race cars. I think we're going to have another one today, but I'm just anxious. You know, this is a track that we've never run this car at before, and I think there's a lot of unanswered questions for a lot of us, and it's going to be very interesting.
You called it finicky. That kind of sounds like a woman. See, I can say that. As the girl, I can say that.
Yeah, you can say that. I didn't say that. My wife's perfect. No, you know what, it is. You go into the, you know, in the corners and it's whether you're hitting a splitter, you know, whether you're on the bump stop too hard, not enough. The transitions, with this car are just very difficult. Plus the grip level is just not quite there. I like the car. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think we've seen some great racing. It's just trying to get more time to work out some of the bugs and try to figure out how we can continue keep the car feeling the way we want it to feel, get everybody comfortable, and put great racing out there on the track.
DW wants to know if you've caught a show while you're in Vegas.
I've been so busy. I've had 4 appearances. Just my sister's birthday was yesterday, which happy birthday, Kim. And, with the baby, we have no time for shows right now.
Well, he's hoping to put on a show today. He did that in 2001. That's when he won this race at Vegas. Chris?
Thanks, Krista and Jeff. How about him, though, talking about the new car and the handling here?
I want to talk about the car, but I got to tell you this real quick. When Jeff Gordon first started racing, a little kid racing quarter midgets, he took his sister to the racetrack with him because he didn't like to kiss the other girls, and so he would have his sister present him with his trophy.
Really? Is that Kim who he's wishing a happy birthday? Oh, that's
you're the beauty queens right there.
Yeah, he told me that a while back. But the new car, I tell you what, this thing's a work in progress.
It'll be
it's
a little
work in progress.
And the wind, Jeff, with that wing, I mean, the effect it'll have.
He's talking about the balance of this thing right now. That wing could have an effect as far as getting the car loose. These guys have been fighting all week long. He talked about the grip of the car getting over on the left front on that bump stop and kicking back on the right rear, so the car's kind of teeter-tottering a little bit. That's the biggest problem going off there, and because the racetrack is kind of rough getting down in one.
Turn one's the big problem, and the car goes in there and it hits and it skips.
Bap, bap.
So things
out of here
could get finicky. It's time for our news and notes. And Las Vegas Motor Speedway owner Bruton Smith, he wants to add another race here. Hey, currently, you know what the race pours into the Las Vegas economy? More than $133 million. Also, if Robbie Gordon loses his appeal with NASCAR next week, he may just run the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. Gordon still believes he has a good chance to win his appeal. And Kurt Busch, the hometown favorite, never forgets where he came from. In fact, he was out signing autographs at the souvenir trailer. He's done this 248 of the last 251 races. That is a nice thing to do. Time for Gas and Go. We're never dark on Sundays. We run the clock. We ask the question.
Where's the clock?
All right, right here.
Okay.
15 seconds. Daryl, you have 15.
Why do I always get the first question?
What do you think of this car on the track? Because the drivers are talking about super fast speeds, especially through the turns.
Yeah, it's a learning process. They're learning this car. And all you hear them talk about is the bump stops. Why don't you get rid of them? Okay. I mean, if they're causing so much trouble, get rid of the stupid things. Put some spring in the front of that car and get rid of those old soft springs and those old bump stops.
Right on
time. Smartest thing you said in a long time.
All right, crew chief, to Jeff, for you, what do you think of the comeback performances of Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, the way they have rallied so far?
That's what you expect from champions, Chris. I mean, that's why you race. When you have a bad day, you turn it around the following week, and that's the reason why we run so many races. You have opportunities to have highs and lows, but now's the time to get on track, guys, and get up in that top 12 and stay there.
Yeah, Gordon went from 38th in points up to 14th, a great leap. All right, Daryl, will Martin Truex Jr., this 15 seconds, will he be able to keep DEI competitive? He was 6th last week.
Why'd you ask me that question?
Because you had a little spillover from last week.
Well, yeah, no, Martin is a great driver, and I like Bono as crew chief. If they can keep Mark Martin running good, that'll feed off. I think they can feed off of him. I think that's the key to their success, is keeping Mark happy.
Can they even
keeping him competitive.
keep up though with the Childress or the Roush gives those other teams, or are they?
Well, I can't. I don't know.
You don't know.
They got their work cut out for them. They're not there now. That's for sure.
That's fair enough. All right, with the bell. Jeff, for you, now that February's over, Tony Stewart's never won a race in February, and Las Vegas, one of the few tracks, only 4 that he's never won on. What about his chances today, and is this the month he gets going?
Well, he was running extremely good yesterday. You see him talking to your favorite friend right there, Carrot Top. So hopefully he's learning something about how to handle Las Vegas. But I really believe these guys are on the verge of breaking through and getting into victory lane. And he's been strong the last couple of weeks. And I've got no reason to believe he could not win today.
All right, I'm opening for Carrot Top next month.
I think Tony could dye his hair red, and they get close.
All right, Jeff, how many teams stayed out west after last week, and is that an advantage? Did it help with preparation? Can that be a hassle?
It can be a hassle. A lot of the guys, they went back home, they swapped a lot of stuff around, but there's a lot of teams that are just dog tired right now and need to get home. I mean, that's the key thing right now. Everybody's looking so much to getting done in Phoenix. A lot of teams told me they may just run that one session on Monday and get out of there because they feel like Atlanta is more important than Phoenix.
All right, Darrell, 15 seconds. Casey Mears, 2 DNFs to start the season.
Yeah.
Can he dig out of the hole? What are his chances of making the
Digger.
chase?
Just when I look at him, when I see him doing interviews and everything else, he looks like a guy that's really down in confidence. Getting off to a bad start. You got these superstar teammates, and to try to compete at that level and getting off to the kind of start he's gotten off to. Made a little mistake at Daytona, had trouble last week. This guy needs to get going.
He got a little bit of trouble at Daytona, but it was the water at California. He got victimized.
The water got all of us there. All right, Jeff, real quick.
Common denominator.
How happy will teams be to get closer to home after the West Coast? We have Atlanta, Bristol coming up. Then a weekend off.
Why is he lobbing you all these easy questions and he throws all the hard ones at me?
Because you're smarter
it.
than I am, but I believe they're really looking forward to going home.
That's the smartest thing you said lately.
They're looking forward to going home.
That's not saying much. All right, for both of
I saw
you.
your picture in that little school deal there.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Since we're in Vegas, what long shot do you like today? Give me a long shot, not a favorite. Is there a driver out there? Go ahead, you got one?
Hurry.
22.
All right.
22.
Dave Blaney?
19. I like Elliott Sadler.
All right, once again, you guys passed.
19, 20, 22,
Nice work. We're going to give you the odds, too, because legally, they're posted here at Vegas. If you have a question for our guys, anytime, anything pops into your mind, you can get the answers. Go to foxsports.com. It's a special NASCAR website. Type in your question. Darrell, Larry, Jeff, they're there 24/7 to answer it. Go to foxsports.com/askthepros. It's built by the Home Depot, and it's interactive.
No wonder I'm so tired.
Last week at the race in Fontana, ZZ Top performed in concert, and for Darrell and Jeff, it was a hairy experience. Of course, I know you guys always dive into your surroundings. What do you think of Vegas so far? You guys having a good time? You enjoying yourself? They stayed at the casino too long. Coming up, we'll get you ready for the race. 400 miles at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We could have asked, do you like the name Digger? There you go, Patrick. Welcome back in Las Vegas to the Hollywood Hotel and Casino. Your credit is good with us. Look at the odds here. They've installed Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch is the 5-1 favorites. And you've got Dale Jr. at 9-1. Tony Stewart 10-1. By the way, the Red Sox favored to win the World Series. You'll see that on Fox in October.
I want to go to the same casino that Steve was talking about because Kyle's only 5-1 on this, and he was 10-1 on Steve's book.
Well, we're just following the odds. Remember, the Patriots were favored in the Super Bowl. We all remembered how that happened. Right. To win today may require well-thought-out strategy along with the same luck that comes with a roll of the dice. And we'll make the call on the driver of the 16-car, Greg Biffle. His best finish on this track is 6th, but when it comes to the casino, nobody beats the Biff.
I got a great story. Typically, craps is what I play. I'm going to take, $400. I started gambling and lost my money. I was down to about $80 in about 20 minutes, and then I won back to about $650. And a guy at the other end of the table got the dice, and he rolled for 2 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours probably. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got $17,000 in chips in front of me. It was an incredible event, I showed up with $400. I just couldn't believe that happened.
I love the reenactment. They did a pretty good job with that.
They did.
Yeah.
As the drivers are introduced.
Let me tell you, I put all my trust in Goodyear, not good luck.
Those Goodyear tires. There's a lot.
That right.
There's a lot riding on those.
Me.
All right. Earlier we talked with Kyle Busch, and under the FCC Equal Time Racing Brothers Act, we have to hear from Kurt Busch, the older brother, also the hometown hero. His best finish 3rd in Vegas, currently 4th in the point standings. Kurt standing by with Matt Yoakum.
Catching up with Busch the Elder. Now, first off, when you come to your home track in your hometown, how many tickets do you have to request for all your friends?
We've got to do a couple extra appearances, get them up on the grandstands, but yet it's a great time. Everybody loves this track and the atmosphere here, and it's time to hammer down. It's finally race day.
When you look at what it means to come back here, your mom's been a season ticket holder here since the place opened. Special place. What would it mean to finally get a W?
I just grew up racing over across the little track on the 3/8 mile every Saturday night. Watched this place get built from the ground up, and it's very special just to be able to race here, and then to win, I think I'd come unglued. I think the whole house would come down, and
everybody's pulling for us. Everybody says they got a lot of money riding on the 2 car, so we're hoping to do it.
He hopes to score that first W here at his home track. Krista?
Right along in the truck with Matt Kenseth, who starts 13th. And Matt, it's the same track, but a new car. You've had a lot of success here. Is that going to carry over?
It's a dangerous interview. You guys can't see it, but Krista's ready to fall out of the truck. I hope so. It's a different racetrack than what we had, until last year, and it's a different car than we've ever raced here before. But so far, I've been pretty happy with my USG Sheetrock Ford. It's been driving pretty good. Our speed's been reasonable, so I'm looking forward to the day.
Back-to-back wins in 2003 and 2004. And Chris, yes, I'm surfing in the back of this truck. This is the beauty of live television. At any moment, I could roll right out.
Well, we could hear the wind in the microphone,
Oh, yeah.
and you need that. It's a 3-can hairspray can kind of a day.
You ought to know.
Yes, I have it lacquered. If I fall over, my head
already used too.
Hey, Toyota drivers lead all 3 series, right? When you talk about points, I know it's early.
Yeah.
But in today's race, Ford has the fewest number of entries. Yet with Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, probably a pretty good chance to
They've
win.
got a really good chance, I think, of winning. I mean, when you think about the success that Roush Fenway has had at this racetrack, you cannot rule these guys out. Matt Kenseth is one of the smartest drivers on the circuit. You see how hot right now Carl Edwards is. So you got to believe that these 2 drivers, if anybody's going to get to victory lane, it's got to be one of them.
When I look at the numbers from this racetrack, 3 names pop up almost every time. Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, and Jimmy Johnson. Those 3 guys have dominated this racetrack. Only 2 race teams, Hendrick and Roush, have dominated here as a team. Ganassi has 1 win with Sterling Martin back in 2002, so that's where your winner is going to come from.
Yeah. All right, today's race, the 3rd of the 36 that are scheduled for the year. This is the first full season for what was once NASCAR's Car of Tomorrow, and as we found out last week in Fontana, when it comes to the new car, we continue to pick up more and more knowledge. And speaking of picking up, Daryl and Jeff here.
Looks like I'm racing on a dodgeball course, man. I'm having to touch up the debris out here.
He has something on his grill.
Greg Biffle has debris on the grill. He's overheating.
The expression "get in your grill" has a lot of meanings. Get in your grill could mean that it's time for George Foreman to start barbecuing, or for Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Hammond to do some explaining in the AutoZone pit zone.
Today here at Las Vegas, we're expecting the high winds, and it could create a problem like we saw at California. That means a lot of debris coming out of the grandstands, out of the infield, that could wind up on the racetrack, and unfortunately can wind up on the front nose of these cars.
I remember a couple of times I'd be racing along, and I'm running 190 miles an hour. I'm not out there just cruising. And you'd say, how's your gauges? Well, being annoyed anyway, I'd say, what do you want to know for? The gauges are fine. And then all of a sudden you'd look down and you'd see your water temperature gauge peg.
Exactly.
And you'd say, oh my gosh, I'm running hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get down off the AutoZone pit box and take a look at what we're talking about here. Now, Darrell, temperature's one thing that you get into, but also when this debris gets on the front nose of this grill, well, the other problem we get into, it's like taping the front nose up. And when these pieces of debris get up here and get locked up on the front nose, not only does the temperature go up, but it could change the balance of the race car. That means the car all of a sudden could get a little bit loose. Even though the temperature's not critical, the car could all of a sudden be undrivable.
Now, on the old cars, this was the grill opening. This is where you took all the air in. And so stuff would hit here and it would sometimes blow off. Here, it gets locked back up into this cavity, and it's pretty hard to get off. There's a couple of little tricks as a driver you can do, though. If you recall last week at Fontana,
Jamie McMurray,
yeah.
His crew chief tells him to pull up behind the car, and all of a sudden the wind got away from the front of the deal, and this stuff here, all of a sudden, it didn't stick as much, and again, it dropped away, and it kept him from having to make an extra pit stop. So you've got to be able to understand sometimes when the crew chief calls in and says, driver, check your gauges, there's a reason, and sometimes when the driver says, crew chief says, pull up behind another driver, there's a reason for it, guys.
All right, nice work. You think so, what is it, aerodynamics?
Aerodynamics,
yes,
yeah.
Right, that everything would just kind of blow by there. But obviously, so what can you do about it once it's there?
This new car has that cavity down there between the splitter and the bumper. I think if it were I don't know, Jeff, you've worked on this car a little more than I have, I would open that bumper area up. That doesn't get paper on it, and let that bottom plug up all it wants to.
You cannot lose the downforce on the front of these grills. We take a look right here at what's going on today. Air temperature about 58 degrees, but watch what the wind's doing. It's coming steady, 20 miles an hour. It could gust up as much as 40 miles per hour. You're going to see a lot of debris being blown around this racetrack when they drop the green flag today, and it will probably have somebody on pit road when they don't want to be.
I'll still give up downforce. Stay out of the pits. That's a lot better than
Yeah, that's him talking here.
And
He was in that race car. He'd want all the damn.
You know
folks he
me,
could
I
in
always
front of-
think outside the box.
And I'll work on aerodynamics. Okay, both on and off the track in Las Vegas. Magic acts are always crowd pleasers. Lance Burton puts on a great show in this town, and he's twice won the Magician of the Year by the Academy of Magical Arts. I asked Lance Burton to saw Jeff Hammond in half.
Good.
At the very least, he couldn't do that. It wasn't in the cards.
Probably dull as blade.
We are backstage with Master Magician Lance Burton. Lance, it's great to meet you in person. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, my
Chris
pleasure.
And Jeff.
Jeff.
And you're going to do a little trick for
I'm going to do a
us?
little trick, Jeff. I'll try a little experiment for you. Why don't you hold your hand out like that, palm down, make a little table
right
for me.
Yeah,
This is a test of your imagination. I want you to imagine that there are 4 playing cards laying on the palm of your hand. Now that's the easy part because there are 4 cards. Okay. But I want you to imagine those are the 4 queens. That would be a really good hand if you're a poker player. Now, if I were to reach in there and remove 2 of the queens of the same color, in your imagination, which ones did I remove? The red ones or the black ones?
The red ones.
The red ones. Okay, good.
All
That
right.
would be the queen of diamonds and
and the
hearts.
queen of hearts.
Okay, now if I were to place them back, but I were to turn one of them upside down, in your imagination, which one did I turn upside down?
The queen. The
queen
hearts.
Of hearts. So in other words, in your imagination, out of the 4 cards, the one that's upside down would be the queen of hearts. Now, I don't want you to think that that was a sleight of hand trick, that I somehow flipped that card over at the last second. That's why I brought the queen of hearts from a different colored deck. In fact, I didn't even bring the other queens, which just goes to show you have a great imagination.
Wow, mind reading. Are those blank cards? That's what was on his mind? Great work. That was very impressive.
Thank you
very impressive. How did you...
Deep sleep.
All right, Lance, can you tell us how you did that?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Tell him. Can you tell him?
Look into my eyes. Go to sleep.
He was.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I was blown away, folks. I could not believe what that man did.
That's just a
and
sample.
he stood there and watched.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's just a sample of what he does, Daryl. But to get Jeff to go, I told him that Lance was related to Jeff Burton.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk racing.
Now, my desperado buddy here, you know. Queen of Hearts. You got to watch her, boy.
He's not related.
I know why you picked the Queen of Hearts.
Exactly
He's
right.
not related to Ward Burton either. All right, so you're going to head up to the broadcast booth and have some fun.
How about you disappear?
All right, the start of this race, though, the start of this race could be a little crazy. You think guys are going to play it safe?
No, I think it's going to be. Look at that trash. Look at all the trash you're cleaning up around here. We got a mess on our hands.
Told you we got a lot of debris.
The debris field is already large.
That's not on the track. It could be. All right, Daryl, we appreciate it. Have fun upstairs with Larry and Mike. Jeff and I will be down here. Will Jimmy Johnson win for a 4th straight time? Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. win for the first time in 65 races? What are the odds we'll get a surprise winner? It's all ahead on Fox. Fox, glad you're with us from Las Vegas, known for its anything goes attitude where all bets are off, but now the crowd getting ready to race at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We get ready for the UAW-Dodge 400. Kyle Busch on the pole, the points leader. Carl Edwards, who won last week alongside. No front row driver has won this race. Let's head down trackside for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats as the Nellis Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Las Vegas Motor Speedway chaplain Kenny Farmer offers today's invocation.
Would you pray with me? Father, we thank you for this day and the many blessings of it. We pray for all those that's worked so hard to put this event on. We pray for the drivers and crews as they compete, Father. May they do it at their very best and they're very safe. Father, I just pray for all those men and women that's come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. They're in hospitals that are broke and hurting. We pray that we never forget them, Father, for what the sacrifices they've done for our country to enjoy this freedom that we have. We ask this in your name, Father. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, starring in the Las Vegas hit musical Mamma Mia at Mandalay Bay, please welcome the very lovely Carol Lene Johnson as she performs the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed
at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that her flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear that applause for Carol and A. Johnson and the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, right on cue for today's flyby. We'd also like to say thank you to the Freightliner Century Class truck for bringing the American flag down pit road.
As the drivers get ready, more than 150,000 fans on hand. We're glad you're watching in a city where Hit Me has many definitions. Time for our weekly feature, The Hit List, and it's not how to play blackjack. The Hit List, where you get to know what drivers are thinking on a wide variety of topics. Today's question: if you could spend time with any one person, past or present, who would it be? Which person would you like to meet more than any other?
I never had a chance to know Bill France Sr. And I'd love to meet the man and spend a little time with the man that kind of made our sport what it is.
I'd say Albert Einstein would be a cool guy to meet.
But would you ask him questions about his theories? Or
people like that typically just ramble on to themselves, so that's what's neat to listen to.
I was always into Abraham Lincoln and the books in history class. He's from Illinois, where my whole family's from, and so the land of Lincoln, it just grew on me.
I guess I'd like to see old Abraham Lincoln one time.
What would you want to ask him? Or
how in the world did he fit in that bed?
I'd like to meet MacArthur. I'd like to be able to sit down and talk to somebody that was pretty influential on America's history.
Jim Clark was my hero. I was lucky enough to be the second Scottish driver after him to win the Indy 500.
You know, someone that would be fun and entertaining, like Bernie Mac.
Really, you like his stuff?
I really like Dave Chappelle. Dave is a really intelligent person that makes us laugh.
Heather Graham, I've always been a fan of hers, and just a lot of different hot women.
I don't know that there's any one particular person that I'd like to meet. Really? I got to meet you, so I'm in good shape.
Yeah, he's always a lot of fun, Happy Harvick. We head back to our pit bosses for NASCAR on Fox, our pit watch, and down on the track, and our ace reporter, the veteran Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, we got a stiff wind blowing down here, Chris. It's coming off turns 3 and 4, heading towards turn 1 and 2. The biggest concern of this wind, trash and debris in the grills of the race car, causing them to overheat. Carl Edwards, who raced here yesterday in the wind, said it'll move a car around. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, as Chris Myers said, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, one of just 4 tracks that Tony Stewart has yet to win on. If he's going to win today, they're going to have to figure things out pretty quickly. In practice yesterday, they were very loose. See if Tony can make it any better today. Krista?
Well, Dick mentioned that wind. You know, the Stratosphere is a Vegas landmark. They shut down the thrill rides if the winds exceed 60 miles an hour. Kevin Harvick said he could be in for a thrill ride today because they've never raced these cars at this track. They said the cars are completely different than the old cars. It's really a crapshoot. Matt.
Krista, it's been an up and down weekend for Clint Bowyer, but like the old saying, as long as you still have a chip on the table, you're still in the game. He wrecked his primary car near the end of final practice. This car definitely shaking off the new. The only laps it has, the only time it has at a racetrack, when they rolled it out of the truck to a stall in the garage area. He sat in this car for the very first time just a few moments ago, but their car top 10 in final practice and the first one. And you know what, Chris? Every time you come to Vegas, like Clint Bowyer says, you got to have a little bling. You got a little Elvis riding along in the 07.
Elvis impersonators, no Jeff Hammond impersonators, the real guy. That could be Jeff there, try to beat the traffic. And a beautiful,
that would be a ride.
A beautiful blue sky. Yeah, you've already done your 9 Gs. You're all set to go. All right, so whoa, hang on there. So he's just having fun.
Every day.
Right? We might see that kind of action down on the track. People come to Las Vegas, Jeff, there's always a lot of mystery, there's excitement, there's adventure.
Yeah, but when you come to this racetrack, you're looking for good side-by-side racing. I mean, that's what everybody's looking for today. And you're probably going to see some of it, but it's going to be like, I mean, we're walking on thin ice because of this wind. These wings on the back of these cars are really going to move them around. It's blowing across the turn, so you may look for a lot of people having problems down in 1 and 2 and not so much in 3 and 4. But the start of this race, I think, is really going to be one of the high points. It has to be. When you think about the fact you got Tony Stewart starting mid-pack, you got Jimmy Johnson, the winner here, going for 4 in a row, starting way back there in 33rd position. So coming through the field and watching these two drivers, that's going to be something really impressive. But how about the wild card, Mike Skinner, starting up there in 5th? He doesn't have a lot of experience in these cars, even though they may be a lot like a Craftsman truck that he races every week or every other week when they're on the series. You got to worry about somebody like him who doesn't have a lot of experience, and he's driving that 27.
Elliott Sadler starting up front, Casey Kane in the back. Casey needs to make up some ground today.
He has got to have a solid run, and he's got to have a solid finish if he wants to start climbing back up that point ladder.
This is the 11th race run at this spectacular venue at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and the fans anxiously awaiting the start. So it's time for those magical words we always like to hear. Let's head trackside for the command.
The moment that you have been waiting for. Please welcome today's Grand Marshal and top UAW Administration Assistant to Vice President General Holyfield, Mr. John Byers, as he says the most famous 4 words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your UAW engines.
Was that Robin Leach or David Hill talking? All right, what goes on in Vegas doesn't stay there because we broadcast it live on Fox. And let's go upstairs. Darrell Waltrip is joined, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy. Guys?
I think everybody's glad to be out of Fontana, Chris, and ready to race here in Vegas, but a lot of concern. 26 cars have crashed on this racetrack from Friday through yesterday, Darrell. Turn 4, Calamity Corner. Turn 2's where the wind gusts are going to be. What are you most concerned about?
Well, I'm not going to worry about turn 2. I mean, I know, everybody says, the wind's going to push them into the wall over there. I think I know that. I got that in my mind. I think we're going to have trouble. It's the same old place we always have. Coming off turn 4. Mat that throttle in the middle of the corner, get a lot of corner speed. When that thing exits, you got it. Wow! You lose it. And that's turn 4.
Larry, you're going to get some trash up under that front bumper in the grill, as Darrell and Jeff showed us. If you have a teammate behind you, no problem. You get him up close, and the air between the two cars will buffet it off. What if you don't have any friends?
It's a little tougher to do because we have a half-mile less racetrack to work with, and these cars are going to be bunched up a lot more. But that's where the spotter's got to be on his game. Crew chief's got to be on his game. That driver's got to watch that water temperature gauge. But, Mike, I think based on what we saw in practice, based on qualifying, this is going to be a day. We talk about it a lot of comers and a lot of goers. I think we've got some fast race cars starting at the rear of the field.
One other thing real quickly, I would watch pit road entrance. We always have an incident on trying to get on pit road. Really tough transition off the track on the pit road. Keep an eye on that.
And quite a number of drivers got gigged for speeding coming onto pit road in yesterday's race. Time for our FedEx Racetracks question. Linda in Arizona asks, are all the teams using the same car today in Las Vegas as they did last week?
We have a few teams that did. There was no way the haulers could get back to the North Carolina area and back out here. We have some teams racing their backup car from Fontana. Then there were some haulers that were come over from North Carolina that actually brought the cars they're racing here. A lot of different agendas to run this race.
Write in your questions and we'll feature one viewer letter each week during our FedEx Racetrack segment, or log on to foxsports.com, keyword FedEx, for more information. Ready to race in Las Vegas, the fans still streaming into the grandstand here. They're on the pace lap here in Las Vegas from Digger, the NASCAR on Fox Gopher Cam. There is a look at the field coming by behind the safety car. Let's give you a look at the starting lineup for today's NASCAR Sprint Cup race on Fox.
Hey, let's see if we can get a hold of Kyle Busch here real quick. Kyle, it's DW up in the Fox Sports booth. How you doing, buddy, and can we talk to you?
I'm doing good, DW. Go ahead, man.
Hey, buddy, you got your home track here. You're on the pole. You got a fast car. What can we expect today?
Well, hopefully we can keep this fast M&M's Toyota up front, keep it out in some clean air, and just ride around for most of the day and see what it comes down to in the end. We know there's going to be some fast race cars that get their cars handling better throughout the day, and hopefully we can be one of those guys to try to challenge for a win.
What are you worried most about today, Kyle? The wind, the track? What's your biggest concern today?
Well, this track conditions right now are sort of how they were when we tested here about after lunch. You know, it kind of warmed up just a little bit in the day, and it was a little bit windy when we tested here, so this will probably pay more into what we had then. So I'm not necessarily worried about it. I felt like we had a pretty good test, and our car yesterday was decent, and you know, we worked on it all through practice, trying to make it better and better and better, and finally got it to where we were pretty comfortable with it at the end.
All right, my friend. Well, go fast, have fun, and put on a show like you've been doing. It's been fun to watch, and good luck.
All right, buddy. Thanks. We'll do.
There you see our race analysis. Length of this race, 267 laps, 400 miles. Pit road speed, 45 miles per hour. The pit window for Sunoco race fuel, 52 to 56 laps, but you may want some Goodyear race tires a little sooner than that. To the rear, Clint Boyer, a backup car, crash in final practice. Casey Kane, the 9, they had to change engines.
And note that they're blowing the racetrack on these pace laps because with the wind and the dust that blows through the desert here, they want to try to give these drivers as clean a race surface as possible for today's event. Make it a great race day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Just turn left and enjoy Budweiser, the great American lager.
You know, Darrell, as I see those blowers, I watched your piece with Jeff Hammond in your AutoZone thing in the pre-race. The biggest thing, making sure there's no paper around this racetrack. The wind blowing is going to magnify that situation.
Yeah, and you know, Larry, I asked Jeff, and you're big you're big into aerodynamics. Why couldn't you open up that bumper area up there where that black space is and not use that cavity at the bottom?
You actually can, but the pressure there is so much different from there in that cavity that some teams have told me that air will go in the bottom and actually try to come out the top. They're working on that. It's another unknown about this new car.
Yeah, that just is such a worrisome problem here. And I mean, you know, I give up a little downforce if I didn't have to pit.
Look at the tire tracks coming off turn 4. That's what Darrell has talked about. The exit of turn 4 has been calamity corner all weekend here.
Let's take a look at our race keys for this 400-mile race. Never let your guard down. You got to be up on that wheel with both hands and feet. Don't give me 110%, just give me 100, but never let your guard down at this fast mile-and-a-half racetrack. Exit of the turns, treacherous. Darrell has talked about it. Turn 2, turn 4, but I agree with Darrell. Turn 4 historically is where we really have problems here. And you know what? Unlike last week at Fontana, we get near the end of this thing. You watch the nationwide race yesterday. You have to evaluate, do I want good track position at the end of this race, or do I want 4 fresh tires? There's a fine line there.
What do our Fox analysts do in the offseason? Well, there's Troy Aikman, comes to the races half a dozen or more times a year to watch his Hall of Fame racing team.
You might say it has a vested interest.
Absolutely.
It's good to see him here, though. Troy and these guys do a great job on Fox for the NFL.
Half a lap to the green flag. Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, the hometown boy, one of 2, his older brother Kurt. They're from Las Vegas, and here's last week's winner.
I think these drivers right now, Mike, are probably more tense than they were at Daytona coming to get the green flag, because this car has just been giving them a fit here with setup. And I don't know if anybody's that comfortable racing off the corner beside somebody.
I think Digger's a little anxious too.
Digger's even nervous.
Well, DW, we're in Las Vegas. You know it's going to be a big old party. And you know what? The wind's blowing. So, buddy, you better reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
All right, folks, get up on your feet. Let's go. What you say? This is Las Vegas. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Let's get the little dodgy mid-pack. Mike Skinner backing up right through the middle of the field.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
They were bottled up big time. And Kyle Busch comes in here, our points leader. He'll get those 5 points. All you have to do is lead 1 lap, and he'll get them for leading lap 1 in the 18 car.
Carl Edwards was a little slow coming up to speed on that start. Jeff Gordon was just really pushing him hard, trying to get him going. Got a car up high in the wall down there.
And it's Patrick Carpentier, who made his first race of the season this year. Qualifying rained out at California, missed the show in Daytona, and having some issues in the first couple of laps here. And Dale Jr. in the 88 almost with an anxious moment as they dust up the track in these first few laps and try to establish 2 racing grooves.
And I think we have 2 right now. They would like to get to that 3rd groove, but I think it's going to take a little time to get that high groove.
Here's another car that hit the wall down there on that first lap, Larry, the 00, and he's got parts flying.
Let's first show you Patrick Carpentier. Watch the bottom of your screen. Here's that blue and white number 10.
It's out here.
Yep.
He gets a little loose getting in, chases it, saves it. But right behind him, you'll see David Rudiman in the 00. He's not so lucky. He bangs into it.
He actually hit that wall pretty hard down there in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, and he's got the rear fascia flapping in the wind, so he's going to have to come to pit road.
Still inside, 1 inside.
Watching
one in the wall up ahead a little bit.
Watching from Dale Jarrett. Black flag for David Rudiman. An unhappy birthday for Rudiman. He'll have to come to pit road early.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot of damage on that 00 car. He's not a lucky dog today.
Of course, what the black flag means is, as you said, Mike, he'll have to come to pit road. A NASCAR official will be there to make sure they make the repairs properly on this 00
All right, Ryan, they're going to black flag it. We got a severe right rear just blew out. Come on in.
No debris on the track from Rudiman, so we stay green with Kyle Busch trying to run away from this field.
Yeah, Rudiman's right rear tire blew there from the body rub he had. Watch this. He causes a real bottleneck off of turn 2 over here. Look the car get out of shape. McMurray right on his back bumper. Nowhere to go. Finally ducks out to the inside.
He did make it to pit road, though. He's entering pit road right now.
Look at this race for 9th place.
I've been watching Matt Kenseth, this 17 car. He started back in 13th. Now he's battling Dale Earnhardt Jr. up there for the 9th position. And Elliott Sadler in the 19 car. Jeff Hammond said he's his long shot today.
Well, I tell you what happened there, Larry. The 17 running the bottom. Right there you see him down low. 19 up high. A little bit more momentum up off the corner. Was able to make the pass.
You can keep it wound up there.
Yep.
Little flick on the right rear center. 3 and 4, all 3 and 4.
That's Dale Jr. Right behind them, Casey Mears and Kevin Harvick.
I don't see any car out there right now that looks like it's handling good. They come off turn 4 sideways. Even the leader right now, Kyle Busch, he was sideways off 4.
David Rudiman has come to pit road in front of Krista.
Not only did the right rear tire blow, right now they're fixing the quarter panel damage. The quarter panel is rubbing and the rear bumper panel is loose. And to add insult to injury, David Rudiman very sick today. He's been drinking a lot of fluids. The next one hit with that flu bug.
The thing about Rudiman and a couple other guys, they're trying to stay in the top 35 or trying to get into the top 35 to get that pressure off of having to make the race every week on time. So this is really going to be a setback for those guys. Oh, trouble off turn 4, the 26 car.
Jamie McMurray.
A wild ride, but he did not hit anything.
Well, he did. He hit the wall earlier, back up in the corner.
They're just holding straight. Got one more outside.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Well, that was a wild ride down through the grass.
Hey guys, let's get ready to put 4 tires on it. We're going to have to look at that splitter real good, too.
Well, the splitter looks pretty good.
I think a pretty good little hit there. What happened, Dave? They all stopped. He said he just got loose. I mean, he just turned loose and they checked up right there. Yeah, the tires aren't flat, so I'm going to run around here.
That was quite a save. He went about half a mile bouncing through the grass and the little 8th mile oval.
I thought he was going to flip over. I mean, the car really got a lot of air under it.
Now, Casey Kane in the 9 may have caught the wall just in front of McMurray. Let's see. Watch that red number 9 up high.
He gets loose right here and just gets up against the fence, and it gets loose enough that it takes him down into Jamie and sends him down through the grass.
And Casey Kane has had a rough time all week long, especially turn 4.
Yep.
And hasn't he had the flu this week? He sat out yesterday's nationwide race because of it.
I think half of NASCAR, there's what Darrell was talking about there. That's how much air got under the left side of that car. But I think half of NASCAR has had the flu over the last couple of
Polly and Dynamite would say, that's some cool air right there.
Got the DVD player fixed in the coach again, didn't you?
Right. That was last week.
Kyle Busch. He so resembles the Charlie Sheen character in Major League, wearing those big glasses. We wanted to call him Wild Thing. And if you watch him drive and cut to the bottom to the top of the racetrack, you'd see why.
We had a lot of the leaders stay out. Looks like the first one that peeled off was Matt Kenseth. About half the field has elected to take advantage of this caution on lap 10, make adjustments, and get tires and fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Krista.
Right side tires only for Matt Kenseth. They're going to lower the track bar. The car was getting loose. They need to tighten the car up a little bit on the 17. Matt.
And the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., his car way on the free side. They were talking about just going fuel only to put a heat cycle on this set of tires, and they decided to go ahead and change all 4 Goodyears. He's away.
Hey, Larry, you know why those other guys didn't pit? They didn't know what to tell them to do to us.
let me run a little further here.
I got to get a little more information for you, dude.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. By DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV. Puts you behind the wheel. By Chevy. The most wins in NASCAR history. That's an American revolution. And by Sprint. Welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful.
We've just waved the green flag for the restart. Kevin Harvick is on it, so is Kurt Busch. They each pick up a spot or 2 as they head for turn 1.
Boy, Harv hit that just right. I mean, he nailed it. He's gotten a couple of cars here on that restart.
He's got that thing wound up off turn 2. Now the top 18 cars out there right now elected to stay out. We have a lot of cars like Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, fuel only on that pit stop.
Further review of the Jamie McMurray incident showed that Clint Boyer's car got sideways loose. That stacked up the field, and as you'll see in the lower right from Casey Kane, watch the black car Boyer up ahead. There he goes. That backed everybody up.
Well, that kind of backs up what Jamie said on his radio. He said, you know what happened, and the spotter said everybody stopped.
Right.
Tell you what, Carl Edwards in that 99, now that they regrouped here after that caution, he is working the rear bumper of this 18 Kyle Busch over. Back to Clint Boyer in the 07. Remember, that's a backup car. This is the first laps he's made in that race car.
7th place, Scott Riggs in the 66, who had a very strong qualifying run, started and is running in 7th. Kevin Harvick tracking him.
Boy, Jimmy Johnson just went way up the hill down. That turn 1 is giving everybody a fit. Not off at 2, but hitting those bumps in turn 1, it really shoots you up the hill.
It's like it's so line sensitive getting in there. Of course, you're traveling over 190 miles per hour to go.
Yeah, look how fast we're going here, Larry. Here's Jimmy Johnson, and he kind of got woed up a tad. So watch at the speed down this front straightaway.
We'll look at it right here. 197.
97.
Little bit of brake. Play with the throttle a little bit. The car takes a good set, then 100%.
What's uncharacteristic about Johnson is right now he's the last of the 4 Hendrick cars in this race. Battle for the lead. Carl Edwards wants it from Kyle Busch.
You think winning last week has anything to do with the way that 99 car's running today?
I think it has a whole lot to do with it.
I'd say that's a lot of confidence, guys.
Now Kyle Busch moved upstairs in 1 and 2, and he gets a good runoff too. It's like right now the second groove seems to be the way to go at both ends of the racetrack.
It's so dirty up very high, but there is a nice line right there where the 18 is right now, and see how that really helps him get off the corner. Gets a nice run off the corner, a little bit straighter. You don't pinch it down so much.
Kyle Busch started from pole in a Toyota, and you see they've now led more laps in the first 2.5 races of this year than they led in all of their debut season. 2nd place Carl Edwards chasing Kyle Busch in the backstretch. Here's Dick Bergman.
Carl Edwards' pre-race strategy was to take it a bit easy on the start of the event because yesterday in the nationwide race here, there were multiple crashes, one of which involved him and took Carl Edwards out of the race while he had a chance to win it. But you know what happens. A race car driver puts a helmet on and that take it easy stuff forgets.
It's all in the helmet. I'm telling you, these are all normal men out here. They're nice guys all through the week. Sunday they put that helmet on. Look out. Turn into warriors.
As we watch the battle for the lead, Juan Pablo Montoya bounced off the wall in turn 2. He has had trouble at that end of the speedway this weekend in practice. And here comes Edwards on the bottom, fishing for the lead. Close. Close. Not that time.
I think he might have, going down into 1.
He should win this battle. But Kyle Busch, he will fight back on the high side. But Carl Edwards right now is just so good getting down to the middle of the corner. But there comes Busch back on the high side.
And you see, that's what makes this kid so exciting. Oh, it's early in the race, let him go.
Wild thing.
That's it.
If he can lead every lap of this race, he will.
But while they are doing this side by side, Chris DeVoe talked to him in the pre-race. Here comes Big Daddy, Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. Jeff Gordon is bailing that thing off into turn 1. The tires are smoking on it right now.
But here comes Busch right back for the lead.
He's lurking back there. He likes this little show he's watching. I don't really like all this side-by-side racing this early. A little dangerous. Looks dangerous to me.
We're riding with Jeff Gordon, and now right on his rear bumper is Greg Biffle in that 16 car. Had a great run yesterday in the Nationwide Series race.
Got to believe laps around any racetrack is helpful. I don't care if you're in a truck, a Nationwide car, or a Cup car.
And Gordon just climbed the hill in 1, and you saw Greg Biffle sail on past with 3rd place.
I believe Biffle's got a good car right now.
And I believe Jeff Gordon is that kind of guy that would say, okay, it's early, you go ahead.
Yes. Unlike that kid in the 18 car.
That's just a little difference in strategy.
Different agendas, yeah.
Saw the 42 climb the hill down there in turn 1 also, Mike. I don't know if he made any contact or not, but
oh yeah,
he got up the hill pretty good. He has had that corner. I bet he wishes that he didn't have to see that corner again for a while, because he has had more trouble there. Wrecked twice. See the car kind of wobble as it went down into turn 1.
Dick Bergman with more.
Well, the surprise with Juan Pablo Montoya, Mike, is that everybody expected that he was going to be very, very fast here at Las Vegas, because in pre-race testing, he came down here, ran a lap of 186 miles an hour, faster than anybody, faster than the track record. But things just have not gone well for him. Crashed in practice. This is a backup car, not the car that they were so fast with in testing, and he is having a handful just trying to keep that thing off the wall today.
About to surrender 29th to David Reagan. Now battles Reagan back on the outside to take it back.
I've been watching this little battle here. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. That was one of the cars that elected to come to pit road, get a little bit of service, some fresh tires, some fuel a while ago. He's been battling Sam Hornish in the 77 car. Right now that's a battle for 13th, and then right behind them is Brian Vickers, who started 43rd, but now he's starting to lose ground to cars like Tony Stewart as well, because Stewart was another car that changed right side tires under that last caution. This is where you'll start paying the price for the older tires, especially if your car's not right.
The flu has hit NASCAR hard these last 3 weeks throughout the garage area and even our television compound and reporters. Casey Kane has the flu, but he has a veteran standing by in case relief is needed. Matt?
Mike, if you need to go to the bullpen, you couldn't go to a more solid performer than Jason Keller. That's exactly what Gillette Evernham has done. He's been standing by all weekend. In fact, he's been on the team radio. That way he can keep up with the trends as far as what Casey is saying about the race car throughout each run. One good news, if they should happen to have to go ahead and make the driver swap, it'll be very minimal as far as the time, because Jason's seat is the same exact LaJoie seat that Casey uses. All they have to do is pull out his insert. But Casey says, health-wise, at least at this juncture, he's okay.
And Darrell, you know the deal. If they can get that car driving good, he'll start feeling a lot better.
Yeah, and just remember, if he gets out of the car, he still gets the points.
Yes.
Right. He took the green flag, and once you take the green flag, you get the points.
Looks like Kyle Busch is about to be biffed here in Las Vegas. Greg Biffle wants the lead. "32 laps of Sprint Cup racing on Fox so far from Las Vegas. Only one caution flag for Jamie McMurray's slide. And now Kyle Busch gives up another spot, this time to Jeff Gordon.
Handel's gone way on that car, big time. I think there's is there smoke coming off the right side of it now? Let's watch him here. Gets real close getting into one. Ooh. No, he didn't hit it.
But I mean, we've seen that with so many race cars this week. But yeah, Darrell, we've run 23 laps now since that caution. And remember, these cars like Kyle Busch, they have not been to pit road. So the handling's starting to go away for sure.
Yep. I was a little bit concerned, not a lot, but a little bit concerned about what kind of tire situation we're going to have today based on the fact they hadn't had any real long runs. So it'll be interesting to see how tire wear goes today, too. Because they got to write quite a bit different tire than they had here last year.
Carl Edwards started second. Greg Biffle started the day in 6th place, and Matt Kenseth started 13th. They have the Ford moves of the race thus far.
Kyle Busch starting to fight back with Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, but
help is coming. Big brother Kurt coming right up to his back bumper.
Kurt definitely, what few long runs we saw yesterday, Kurt definitely looked like he didn't have that fast race car, couldn't cut that fast lap, but he was good on the long runs.
Now I say help, but they drive for different teams in different manufacturer cars, and they're not teammates. They are brothers. We'll see how this sorts out.
And there's just not a lot of help you can do at this 1.5-mile racetrack. You may be able to set a pick for somebody, but that's about it.
And next week we go to a track that is like this, only faster. Atlanta Motor Speedway on Fox next Sunday.
Same size, just a lot more banking.
You're looking at Kurt Busch in the number 2. A little wobbly off the corner there, Darrell, as we watch from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, that.
No grip in the rear.
That's Jeff Gordon.
See if you can turn them front tire blowers off. We need about 13 more to the pit stop. I'm gonna get the track bar down.
Steve Letarte, he's telling him, isn't he?
But that's great information. You know, we have little to no things that driver can adjust from the cockpit. Adjustments have to be made on pit road, but they have blowers that help keep the air pressure down on the front tires. What Steve Letarte told him to do, cut the blowers off. Let the air pressure come up in the front tires. That'll help tighten the car up till we can make an adjustment on the pit stop.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 racing Sam Hornish for 18th position.
Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. 88 car, Tony Eury Jr. they were another one of those cars that came to pit road under that caution at lap 10.
I think that's going to pay off. Not only is it going to pay off in your car handling better, but now some of these guys are faced with having to make a green flag pit stop. And that means you'll probably go a lap down.
Battling Brian Vickers now in the 83.
There you go. Outside at your door.
How about Kenny Schrader? That's a top 15 car, and that's one of the few single car teams, the number 49, BAM Racing. One of the few single car teams left in NASCAR, and Schrader had a good qualifying effort, started 19th, had to time his way into the show. He's running in 13th.
He just drove by Ryan Newman in that 12 car to take that position away.
He's just having fun. You know, I talked to Schrader and he said, you know, I'm glad to be in this car, glad to be at the track, glad to have a car to drive, and he's having a good time.
I told you the story about Barnyard Raceway in Rhode Island. Schrader wants to have run a race in all 50 states. There's no real racetrack in Rhode Island, but we talked to the folks at Barnyard. They're going to run a summer series now just so Schrader can come compete.
Just to get Schrader there.
You bet.
But now Kenny Schrader, he rode his motorcycle from Daytona to Fontana, California. He rode it from Fontana to Vegas, about a 3.5 hour drive. He said, I think I'll put it on the truck and send it back to North Carolina. I think I'll fly home from here.
Another great news story is Scott Riggs. He's having his best race in some time. Started 7th. He is running 6th in one of the Haas Automation team cars.
And his teammate, Jeremy Mayfield's running 10th in the team car. Those are Hendrick cars. I mean, I know Booty and those guys that work on those cars, but they have an open door policy with Hendrick. So if Hendrick cars run good, they should run pretty good too.
And other than Jeff Gordon, they're the 2 best Hendrick cars here.
41 laps complete. Carl Edwards coming off of last week's victory has led 21 of them. Kyle Busch, the hometown boy who started on pole, has led the other 18.
It's a great movie. Something about that leading man. Stay tuned. There's more NASCAR coming up on Fox.
Look at the crowd in this grandstand. Over 145,000 people are here. The infield is packed with motorhomes, and Carl Edwards is putting on a driving display. 0.4 of a second ahead of Greg Biffle, and look, smoke. Tony Stewart's popped up into the top 10. He gained 10 spots before the caution, and he's gained 12 spots since the yellow flag.
But the bad news for those 18 cars that stayed out is we're just about to that window that you're going to have to start making green flag stops. We're seeing the first of them here. Jeremy Mayfield in the 70 was running in the top 10. All of these stops should be 4 tires, but Darrell talked about it at the top of the show. Getting on the pit road here under green. The entrance is right in the middle of turn 4, and it's such a terrible transition getting there.
Your leader, Carl Edwards, to the pit lane along with his teammate Greg Biffle. Dick Berggren.
And here comes Edwards, Mike, and his car is just a little bit tight, not very much tight, to the point that they're only going to make a tire pressure adjustment.
Dick, a crash in turn 2.
We got a crash on the racetrack.
Sam Hornish has crashed. No caution as yet, though Hornish is limping down the back straightaway. Edwards away, Biffle away.
I think if he can get that car to the inside, I don't see any debris back there. I think that's what NASCAR is looking at.
And the track is still clean.
And he gets to the bottom.
He gets to the bottom. So he's going to make it to pit road now, which is great news for Jeremy Mayfield, Greg Biffle, and Carl Edwards.
Heavy right front damage.
They need this thing to cycle through all these green flag stops.
Greg Biffle, you saw him duck down below Edwards and then swing out because Edwards had the first pit stall among the two. Too fast entering pit road. That's a drive-through penalty.
Robin Pemberton with NASCAR came over and talked to you and I, Mike, before the race, said that for some reason they had a lot of that yesterday. And Darrell, I think it's because the entrance is so close to where you come off the racetrack.
Way too short. You can't get woed up right there. You come off at 180 mile an hour, 150 mile an hour, I guess, actually, and you just can't get woed up that quick.
Scott Riggs and the Busch brothers, Kyle in the 18, Kurt in the deuce, and Jeff Gordon are on pit road. Krista?
Jeff Gordon has been fighting his race car for about the last 10 to 12 laps. He said he has no rear grip. Steve Letarte, his crew chief, said, you got to stay out there. I need you to get closer to the fuel window. The time has come. Track bar adjustment and 4 tires for the 24. Matt.
The 18 and 2 teams were boxed into a hole. Pat Trice and Steve Addington were doing hand signals back and forth. They were concerned a caution was going to come out. They finally had to come. They were in their window. Chassis adjusted for the 18. He's away trying to fix his balance to 2 as well. He was too tight, Dick. Steve.
Matt, chassis adjustment for Mark Martin. They put 1 round in the right rear on lap 25. Mark Martin said, I found my line. Krista.
Kevin Harvick also in this section of pit road. A lot of guys fighting a loose race car as Kevin Harvick's team goes around to the left side to make the tire change there. Kevin Harvick is going to be down and away. The 29 running a little bit loose.
Kurt Busch, too fast exiting pit road. Now all of these pit road speeds are timed electronically. It's not a speedometer, but it's the time you take in each segment of pit road. So it's your average over each of those segments. And we have 2 more cars penalized for too fast entering. Here's Matt.
And they've just relayed the message to Kurt Busch, Mike, that he was too fast exiting pit road. He will be coming back. The 07 of Clint Boyer, his car, terrible. It is extremely loose. It's a handful. He's just trying to hang on to it. A number of adjustments.
Boy, can you imagine now, Larry? I mean, with cars making that stop there, some of the cars did on that first caution. They're on a different agenda. Now you got cars on and off of pit road with penalties. We've got a jumbled up mess here right now.
Now, the penalty for speeding under green is what you see Greg Biffle doing. It's called a pass-through. You just have to come back down pit road at 45 miles per hour. You do not have to stop in your pit box and just back out on the racetrack.
Tony Stewart has assumed the lead of this race.
And he's one of those cars that under that first caution went with 2 right side tires, so he, fuel-wise, he can go just a little bit further than these guys that just pitted.
Kenny Schrader is in for his stop.
Comes Jimmy Johnson. But he'd be glad to see pit road.
Yep, Dave Blaney is with him, so is David Gilliland. Here's Steve.
Mike Jimmy Johnson was complaining that the car was loose on his entry. You see him on pit road to the right. 4 tires for Jimmy Johnson. Again, his car complaining that he was loose. Chad Canal said that this morning, and trying to fix that is something they have not been able to fix in that race car this weekend.
NASCAR rookie and Indy Racing League champion Sam Hornish has taken his Roger Penske car to the garage.
Rough week for Sam.
Ryan Newman, the Daytona 500 is in. Krista?
Ryan Newman has been saying his race car is real tight in the middle of the turns. His crew chief Roy McCauley said he planned to lower the left side air pressures to help that tight condition. Again, it's in the middle of the turns for this year's Daytona 500 winner.
Now, what Tony Stewart right there would love to see, he would love to see a caution right now, because right now he has all but 17 cars a lap down, and he will probably have to come to pit road here in the next 6 to 8 laps.
Dale Jarrett is running 12th right now, was running like 35th or 33rd before all these pit stops started, because they had come to pit road on that first caution. That's what this has done to the field right now.
Casey Mears is in, as well as Michael Waldrop, and here comes Stewart surrendering the lead, and Juan Pablo Montoya in the pit lane. Steve?
Mike, Tony Stewart saying that his car is solid on his entry to the corners, but it's tight from the center off when he gets back on the gas. He took 2 tires on his last stop. This time it's 4 tires for Tony Stewart.
Denny Hamlin is in, and so is David Rudiman. Rudiman a couple of laps down after bouncing it off the wall there.
But I tell you what, that's going to be a battle for the lead there on the left. That's Matt Kenseth in the 17, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 running second. He's wanting the lead of this race.
Dick?
And Denny Hamlin is on pit road right now, Mike. The car has been a little bit too tight today. Needs to have better exit speed. He's got 4 tires and he's out of here.
Dario Franchitti, Travis Kvapil, and David Reagan making pit stops. As up front.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What?
Hold on to your helmet. Hold on to your hat. The 88 is going to be leading the race when they go by here.
And you mentioned those 140-something thousand people. They are all standing right now. But now, it's not because of better tires. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, they're on about the same agenda. Both of them made that stop on the first caution.
And more pit this time by 4,100. Be careful with you.
Matt Kenseth is in front of Krista.
And Matt Kenseth had made that stop for right side tires back on lap 10. He stayed out to get those bonus points. Matt Kenseth had said on his radio on that last run he was so loose he would crash his car if he tried to drive it any harder. They're tightening up the 17. Matt?
Dale Earnhardt Jr., who stayed out, who actually pitted on that first caution, so he had that opportunity to stand a little bit longer than some of the guys that pitted a few laps ago. Junior says his car, still like the first run, way too free. Just slick on that right rear. As Tony Eury Jr. calls him down into his pit box, the car still pretty solid, though. The only other issue he had, Mike Joy, was the car, he said, was bouncy when he was running the bottom line down in turns 1 and 2. Solid stop so far by the National Guard guys. Plugs are on, and he's away.
Casey Kane is in, Paul Menard, Dale Jarrett.
I have a challenge. Have a challenge for our pit crew people. See if you can find anybody that likes their car.
I don't think we have found that all weekend.
I don't think so either, man. I never heard of like adjustments.
Dave Blaney and Robbie Gordon come to pit lane. That should pretty much get us through this cycle of stops.
It's close. It's close. Real close.
I think that puts the 99 back in the lead.
I think the last car just hit pit road, Kyle Petty in the 45 car.
4 tires for Robbie Gordon, and it looks like Kyle will look for 4 as well. So we cycle through green flag pit stops. We've had only 1 caution flag all day, and Carl Edwards once again is your race leader. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
You hear Casey Kane roll out of the throttle as caution waves for the 2nd time today in Las Vegas. Debris in turn number 2 will put us under the yellow flag. Just after the entire field had finished their cycle of green flag stops, 2 different agendas occasioned by the first caution, and Regan Smith was the last car to stop. He stopped while we were in break. Reed Sorensen.
2 free now. Do I need to come back halfway?
You might in the rear, you know what I'm saying?
Bob Osborne talking to Carl Edwards. Reed Sorensen will receive the free pass. Got a NASCAR question anytime, anything you want to know pops into your mind. It's the coolest NASCAR website ever at foxsports.com. Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot. Go to foxsports.com/askthepros.
Tell you a guy that was really hustling, trying to get up there to get that free pass was Jimmy Johnson. He was a couple of cars back. Just almost got there in time to get the free pass, but not quite. Lap down.
Tell you what, this cat here, based on now regrouping and the field catching up, this is going to be a cat they're going to have to contend with. Tony Stewart in his 20 car started 23rd, now he's up to 6th. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson's a lap down. We've only got 17 cars on the lead lap with Reed Sorensen getting back on there with a free pass.
Well, the odds are, I hate to talk about odds when we're in Vegas, but the odds are in Stewart's favor because only 3 times in the 10 race history of this track has the winner come from a top 10 starting spot.
And only once has the winner come outside of the Hendrick camp or the Roush Fenway camp.
Well, that too.
And while you're at it, I don't think a Toyota's ever won here.
Good chance on that one.
Did you stay up? You stayed up late last night studying for that one?
He's also the guy that bets on black and red on the roulette table.
Right. You know.
I don't like those kind of wheels.
Here's Steve.
Mark Martin won the nationwide race here yesterday, also won here in 1998. Right sides only for Mark Martin, no adjustments. Dick.
Which car is nearly perfect? You're going to make a very minor adjustment to the car to make it a little bit better. Krista.
Kevin Harvick said they went a little too far on that last adjustment. They need to remove some wedge. He is, quote, really, really loose. Matt?
On the pace lap, Steve Addington told Kyle Busch, more than likely one of our first stops, we're going to go right side tires only to use that as a test to see what it will do later in during the race. But the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win the battle off pit road.
Talked about it at the top of the show. A lot of agendas on pit road. 99 went with 4 tires. That's the reason he lost those 6 spots.
We're under caution for the second time today. Debris in turn number 2 in Las Vegas.
Piper is bringing the whole fire.
Ooh, that was a bold move.
Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel in Las Vegas, and this is an AT&T race break under caution. 72 laps in. Jeff Burton staying out. Jeff Hammond, you don't think it's a good move right now?
I don't think it's a very good move right now. I think that even though it's early in the race right now, I think you need to have those fresh tires. I think it's going to cost them in the long run.
All right, we've seen a lot of action. Let's give you a quick recap. If you tuned in just a little bit late, Kyle Busch on the pole. David Rudiman celebrating his 38th birthday. He's battling the flu and here battling the wall.
Yeah, he challenges the safer barrier just early there, gets up in that loose stuff. See, all of a sudden he loses the right rear tire. Didn't bring out a caution flag because right after that, guess what happened?
Well, and this is where it starts with Clint Boyer, and you see Casey Kane, we're on board with him. He has to slow down and then gets into Jamie McMurray here, and then McMurray does a nice job of just saving things from getting worse.
Nice job. Hang on, brother. Along for the ride is what he's doing.
You don't have a lot of choice, as right now we've had 8 different leaders, 9 lead changes, and a couple of cautions so far. Here are the top 4 car numbers picked by our viewers to win today's race. You can watch our pre-race coverage each week to play.
Yeah, you got a lot of people out there liking Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there.
Is that some more debris out on the track?
On the racetrack. I'd look at one of our other cameras, so it'd be interesting to see what NASCAR does.
Carl Edwards, whose best finish is 6th at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, has dominated, leading 36 laps of this race so far, trying to win back-to-back. Let's go back up and rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Now, right behind the pace car, Chris, Denny Hamlin, Casey Kane, and Dave Blaney. They were behind the race leader. As a little spring rubber goes flying there. They were behind the race leader when the caution came out. They did not pit, but they cannot pass the pace car, so they're lined up just in front of Jeff Burton, who also did not pit, and Burton's number 31 is the race leader. when we go back to green. Now they're going to wave off the restart.
That was
pick that
something
piece
a
up.
little bigger and heavier than a spring rubber.
I don't think it was a spring rubber. It looks like actually looks like a rubber hose of some kind.
But remember, that came off the 26 car. Remember, he was the car that came down through this infield, so there's a lot of things that could have got torn and knocked loose there.
Guys, if I was guessing, going across that infield and jumping across that little quarter mile, probably maybe even a piece of the tailpipe could have come off. You see the guy right now with the shovel. He's not going to pick up anything hot. He looking, whoa, let me pick that bad boy up, because he may have tore a piece of the tailpipe.
Yeah,
loose.
it may not be the tailpipe, but it could indeed be the header. Looked about the size of a header, Jeff.
Maybe it's a crossover that they run between the two pipes.
4 tires on it. 4 tires.
Now 2 of the Roush Fenway cars will restart in the back. McMurray and Greg Biffle, who had problems on his pit stop between the right front tire carrier and tire changer.
You know, Mike, add Dale Jarrett in a 44 car to the list of the 9, the 11, and the 22 that stayed out. Both of those cars, all 4 of those cars are considered what would be on the tail end of the lead lap trying to get back.
Correct. Thanks, Larry. Now they have the option of starting in front of the leader in the outside lane or dropping down to the inside, as Jarrett has done.
And I know this gets confusing, why the leader of the race is not behind the pace car, but it's because those guys stayed out.
Ready to go green with our Claret and Clear to Drive restart. Get Claret and Clear. Get back to feeling like yourself again. 74 laps complete, 75 this time by. Jeff Burton leads for the first time today. He is the 8th different leader of this race.
And just one more thing, I know the fans may say, well, why don't they just put those guys at the back of the pack? Because that would give them their lap back. They have to earn it back. That's the reason they start in front of the leader.
This is a tense time right here, guys. These restarts, when you head off into turn 1, some evil as some of these cars are, got to be careful not you wash up into somebody.
A lot of guys on older tires fighting to get a lap back.
Jeff Burton, Dale Jr., Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, Scott Riggs are the first 5.
Since Jeff Burton is the leader, should Dave Blaney, Casey Kane, or Denny Hamlin catch a caution, if they stay out in front of him, they would be back on the lead lap.
What's a good gamble, Larry? Because when they're bunched up like this, you can have a quick caution.
Speaking of gambling, what do you think? Let's crank it up.
Kyle Busch is coming back toward the lead. You saw him come across the start-finish line way down on the apron to stay off of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And now he has just Dave Blaney separating him from race leader Jeff Burton. And here comes the wild thing.
He was all the way down next to the grass on the apron. There's no banking down there at all, and past 2 cars.
Boy, he's fun to watch. You think Digger could catch a ride on his hauler to Atlanta?
Well, I think Digger saw him coming and ducked because he's over in the dirt.
Now, good job by Denny Hamlin and Casey Kane staying out in front of the leader. Should a caution come out, they'll get back on the lead lap. They'll be able to cycle around because the pace car will wait and pick up the leader. But if they race side by side, Burton and Busch could catch them up.
Yeah, they do not need to race side by side, but they're racing to get back on that lead lap right now tell you, a car that's coming, though, is back behind Kyle Busch, his brother Kurt Busch. But remember, he's a lap down because on his green flag pit stop, he was too fast entering. So what he's trying to do is be that first car 1 lap down behind the leaders, and he'll be back on the lead lap.
And we have a new leader, Kyle Busch. The pole sitter is back to the front. He's passed Jeff Burton. And his teammate, Tony Stewart's moving toward the front as well. 4th place, Steve.
He sure is, Mike. As Larry Mack said, there's a lot of guys that don't like the race cars, but Tony Stewart is one that does. He said this thing has really taken off. So all the changes they've made so far have helped that 20 car.
And that definitely is a group that they threw about everything you could throw at that race car over the last 2.5 days.
Kyle Busch working past his other teammate, Denny Hamlin, trying to put Hamlin a lap down.
And his teammate saying, come on, dude, cut me some slack. We're fighting for the lead. There he goes, down on the apron. That's legal, folks. Daytona and Talladega, that white line, that's out of bounds. But there are no out of bounds there except that green stuff. This can get real annoying when your teammate is holding. Yeah, but he's fighting to try to stay on the lead lap.
Look on the outside, there's Jeff Burton in the 31 car. This is a side-by-side battle for the lead.
And that's probably who's annoyed is Burton, because the 2 Joe Gibbs cars are kind of holding back the field right here.
Well, he's got the 2 Joe Gibbs cars. He's got the 2 Busch brothers, because there's Kurt Busch fighting to get back on the lead lap.
Well, we know Kurt's got a good car, because before he got called for that speeding penalty, he was chasing down the lead at that point.
We just want to make sure everybody knows this is home track for the 2 Busch brothers, both of them from Las Vegas, Nevada.
They started their racing career right outside turn 1 on the 3/8 mile Las Vegas bull ring.
You know who's not liking this?
The rest of the field?
Joe Gibbs. Coach right now said, will you 2 guys separate a little bit?
While they've been doing this, there's that 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's moved back into the picture, 3rd place back there.
Well, as long as these 2 guys run side by side up here, you're going to have a whole bunch of players here for long.
All I know, watching what we're watching, I know we still got 183 laps to go. I am loving this new car more and more. Look at them up there.
I'm surprised that they could. There you go. Now look at
this is playtime.
Denny went up the hill a little bit, Mike.
Kyle Busch, I think Kyle was playing with them all, trying to keep Denny on the lead lap. So Denny right now is in the free pass position, 1 lap down. And now that Kyle decides it's time to push the go button, off he goes. He's gone.
Speaking of go button,
he's gone.
And so are we. NASCAR on Fox continues after this.
Oh, the plot thickens. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by FedEx. Every day is race day. By Toyota, moving forward. By Haynes. Look who we've got our Haynes on now. And by State Farm. Great service, great rates. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
90 laps complete. Toyota has been trying hard this season to notch their first NASCAR win. They've come close right now. The Gibbs cars 1st and 4th, along with Hamlin in 19th. Kyle Busch, 22 years old, a ton of talent. And maybe this year, will he show the kind of maturity that makes him a front runner, a consistent front runner in this series?
I don't have the answer to this question, but no pole sitter has won this race.
Right.
And so I don't know if he even considers that once you're out here racing or not, but that is a fact.
I don't know if he factors in anything.
I don't think he does.
Other than going fast.
It's his home track. It's a homecoming weekend, and I think if he could lead every lap of this race,
oh, he'd do it.
He will. A great run for Scott Riggs, the number 66 there in 9th place. Dick, he's been a top 10 car all day.
Yeah, he has, Mike. Right now, Riggs is running in the 9th position. They're having a very strong day. Crew Chief Booty Barker right now talking to his driver. How much more speed is in that car, Booty?
It seems to be a long-run car. We took 2 rights out to keep our track position to stay out of trouble, so I think we'll have some later.
All right, they're having a terrific day, Mike.
Hey, Larry, Mike, you want to see the fastest car on the track right now?
Well,
and
sure.
He's not leading the race.
But I bet he's getting closer.
He's gaining on it, though, and he's coming pretty fast. There he is right there. He's about 2/10. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, about 2/10 quicker than the lead right now.
And the only other car in the 3120s is his teammate and last week's winner, Cousin Carl.
Well, I was just about to transition back to him. Remember, on that last caution, he was one of the few cars that elected to go the safe route. Bob Osborne, his crew chief, 4 tires. He restarted back in the field. He just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. a few laps ago, up in the top 5. Once again, this long green run, having those 4 tires certainly could pay off, because I think, as Jeff Hammond mentioned, now Jeff Burton in the 31 will start paying the price just a little bit, because Darrell's man Matt Kenseth just went by him.
He's a-coming.
7th place. Greg Biffle coming back toward the front after a pit road miscue. He passes Jeff Gordon.
We're a little bit too tight right now.
That's Gordon.
And that's the game you play. You know, he was complaining about, I'm a little loose on that first run. They've jacked a little wedge in or did a little air pressure. A little tight. Now, next stop in, they'll balance her on out and get it right.
That's a beautiful thing when you can jump the fence that little bit.
Exactly. But now you know you took a swing at it. Maybe it's too big. And here comes the 99 under Tony there. Tony Stewart in the 20, and he is on a march.
Carl is 4.5 seconds behind the leader, and is running just about even lap time.
Position is the 31. 31, that's 20 laps on your tires.
Meanwhile, Casey Mears holding off Newman. Dave Blaney's 22 a lap down, and the 29 of Kevin Harvick. That's 11th place.
Yeah, Casey Mears in the 5, actually a lap down right now.
One car bounced off the wall in 2. Oh, that was Rudeman again, I believe.
Yeah, he's just
tough day.
He messed that car up on the first lap, and they hadn't fixed it.
Keeps going. No caution. Kyle Busch, Matt, is out front by 2.2 seconds, and Matt Kenseth is not gaining on him.
Mike, when you're yarding the competition, it gives you some time to multitask. That's what Kyle Busch has been doing. He told Steve Addington a lot of words in code over, remind me this after the race. I need to tell you that after the race. Also, he wants an update on the line that Carl Edwards is running. And then Addington says, well, what about your car? He goes, well, it's tight, it's loose. It depends on how I pinch it, which line I'm in. But I believe a small air pressure adjustment will be okay. But out front, we are much better.
And that seems to be what's going on, Matt. It seems like if you're back in traffic, you just kind of have a really tough go of it. But if you can get up here with clean air, we saw that with those guys racing side by side. Looks like you can really make some time.
I tell you, we still see that number 9 Budweiser car just up in front of Kyle Busch. Now, we restarted this race about almost 25 laps ago. He's still at the tail end of the lead lap, and he's been running lap times comparable to Kyle Busch. Our FedEx question was, did any of the teams bring the same car that they raced at Fontana? Answer, the 9 car is the same race car.
And I think the good news, Larry, is you could. I mean, there wasn't any problem with bringing that car from Fontana here and racing it if you wanted to.
Kyle Busch, your leader. Here is Matt Kenseth. Krista, he's just holding station right now, 2.6 seconds behind the leader.
Well, it's better than what he thought, though. A lap ago, the whole entire crew jumped up when Matt got on the radio and said, guys, I think I have a flat. He's not sure if the car is getting consistently looser. He thinks it's a right rear. They're holding out, maybe just seeing if the air pressures come in, but he definitely thinks he has a problem. The crew is on their feet. They sprang into action just in case Matt could have a flat right rear.
1.3 seconds behind them. You're watching from Jeff Burton as he tries to hold off Carl Edwards to no avail. Here comes Edwards on the inside, and Carl moves into 3rd. We passed through 100 laps completed in the UAW-Dodge 400 on Fox.
DW says you're the only driver who can race 3 wide by yourself. What did he mean by that?
Well,
he had the right answer. He answered it just exactly like I've been watching it. He can do it. He can just switch lanes quicker than anybody I've ever seen.
We've always said we don't make this stuff up. We just talk about the pictures.
There's a lot of days I'm not smarter than my 2nd grader, Caitlin, and I'm definitely not smarter than my 3rd grader, Scott. But they really peppered Kyle with some questions at that elementary school.
Cute, really cute.
Kyle leads Matt Kenseth by 2.7 seconds. The three Roush Fords have kind of lined up now in positions 2, 3, 4. Kenseth, Edwards, and Biffle. Here is the lead. Quite a gap. Back to that red car of Edwards, and the blue one closing is Kenseth.
You know, I read a lot, and a lot of critics were saying that Ford was really behind the 8-ball, that they just didn't have they didn't have the number of teams, that were behind in their development program. But you know, that must have really made Jack Roush angry.
Another car in the wall, and two, Daryl. Kurt Busch just slid off the wall and kept going, and that's another feature of this COT platform, is you can get up against it and continue on. And we've seen several cars today.
20 car.
Hard in the wall. Tony Stewart.
It has the look of a blown right front tire at the end of the back straightaway.
Stewart crashing for the second day in a row.
Now Casey Kane will not be back on the lead lap, because I think he ran the tongue out of that 9 car, and he had actually faded well behind the lead. That was a hard lick by that 20 car.
Yeah, he knocked the fire out of it. I looked up as he went straight in. You know something I'm seeing over there off turn 3 right now? Look at Kyle Busch. He's got the field absolutely stopped while they get to Tony's car here. That's really a cool move. Watch this thing. That's when I saw it. It just was going straight up the hill, and man, it hits hard.
Good news is right there all over the safer barrier.
Oh, man.
Last October.
Wall in front of you there. Stay low. All clear. Caution is out. Caution is out here. No pressure from behind.
October at Kansas is the last time that Stewart failed to finish a race. Rescue workers are on the scene talking to Stewart, who's getting ready to climb out.
Yeah, Tony came in here third in the points, only 19 points out of the lead. I think we've got the 48 car actually pitting before pit road was open.
They're going to work on that thing, Larry. They're unhappy with it. They can't fix it with tires. They're going to go under there and make some chassis adjustments.
And what they could be doing there, they could be adjusting the shock. They could be changing the load on the sway bar. There's a number of things they could be doing under the right front.
So Tony Stewart shaken up in this crash, still inside the car and talking to the rescue workers. The right side of that car is well used up. Don't think there'll be any driving that one back to the pits.
And he had a crash yesterday, so it's 2 days in a row. Here he is. He's gingerly getting out of that thing.
Yeah, big grimace on his face as he climbs out.
Well, you know, he's had a problem with his shoulder last year.
But he is under his own power, and that is a good sign.
Did he hurt it? Did he get hurt yesterday at all in that wreck he had? Anybody know?
Now it's feeding time on pit road here. All the leaders, we got 16 of them hitting pit road.
Here's Steve.
Mark Martin said, tighten me up just a little bit. He said the track had been coming to him. 4 tires. Dick.
Kyle Edwards in. He had been running in 3rd position. A minor chassis adjustment in the back. Krista.
They're going to make that 4-tire change. Remember, Matt thought he had a right rear going down. He said he needs his car to be just a tick tighter. Chip Bowman, the crew chief, said, I'm going to make an air pressure adjustment. Matt?
Kyle Busch's team already made the chassis adjustment. He could stand to be a little freer across the center of the corner. His temperature is good. They don't really want to clean the grill too much. Back up pit road to Steve.
Matt, just want to update the viewers at home. As you watch the 38, Tony Stewart had said his car was the tightest it had been the entire race, just 2 laps before he hit the wall.
That's when that old right front tire will be in trouble.
Now, Stewart, we're told, complained of a sore ankle after yesterday's crash in the Nationwide Series race, but he is walking away with a little bit of assistance. So a hard crash by Tony Stewart puts us under the 3rd caution of the day in Las Vegas.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by non-drowsy Claritin Allergy Products. By the new AT&T, your world delivered. And by Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together.
112 laps complete. We're under caution for this. A hard crash by Tony Stewart into the wall in turn number 4. Apparently the victim of a cut right front tire. Here's a look at it.
See him back here, and I mean, he's running about what do you go in that corner, Larry? About 190, right?
Yeah, in the middle of the corner, you're only down to about 165, 170.
Right up in that same location is where Jeff Hammond went this morning to file today's State Farm safety report.
In the beginning, they had no walls. Then they went to steel guardrails, then to concrete. But today, through the modernization of technology, NASCAR has now got what they determined the safer barrier. They still have concrete a lot of times down the straightaways, but through the turns at every NASCAR track, they now have the safer barrier. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not hard. As you can hear, still hard aluminum, reinforced aluminum with a softer absorbing energy barrier behind it. That means that when you get into this wall, it actually gives, dissipating the impact. Again, that helps the driver in the event of an impact as well as the car itself. It's not a softer wall by no stretch of the imagination. You can hear that, but it does mean it dissipates the energy. A much safer barrier when you do hit it.
Thanks, Jeff. We are ready to restart. You're watching from Carl Edwards as he lets the whole field go by. As they changed 4 tires on his Ford, the left rear tire that came off his car rolled away out of his pit box, and that means he has to restart at the tail end.
Which is not the tail end of the lead lap cars. It's the tail end of the longest line, which is actually going to be that inside line because we only have 17 cars on the lead lap.
Looks like we're ready for our Clareton clear to drive restart. Luke Clareton clear. Indoors and out. It'll be Kyle Busch at the head of the field, our pole sitter. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Then Mark Martin, Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick, Greg Biffle, and Scott Riggs, the top 10. We'll go back to green to begin lap 115.
And everybody now on the lead lap pretty much on the same agenda. We ran far enough then that everybody came to pit road and did 4 tires.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now that Matt doesn't think he has the right rear flat, and we got the 24 car back in the picture. And boy, that 31 car didn't get off to a very good start, but he's closing back up.
So Carl Edwards comes across the stripe 5 seconds behind race leader Kyle Busch, and that's a lot of ground to make up and a lot of traffic to drive through.
I was going to say 5 seconds and a bunch of race cars.
He's just going to have to remember you can't get it all back at once. He's going to have to be patient back in here where he is now.
Plenty of time.
And all day, and let the pit crew help you some.
Toyota, Ford, Chevy. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon.
See Kurt Busch, that 2 car right behind Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, still trying to overcome his pit road penalty. He's trying to get back on the lead lap or be the first car lap down to get the free pass.
Lead change, Kenseth to the inside, and Busch trying to deny him from the high groove.
And while he's denying him, there comes that 24 car into the picture. They're going to be right up here trying to go 3 wide here in a second.
And we saw this on the last restart with the 31 in the 18. 18 prevailed. Looks like his car gets a little better after they run a few laps. The 18 car does. We see that little puff of smoke out of the 24. That's his tire rub.
All I know is Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon, they just ran the fastest lap that they've run in this race at lap 116.
Kyle Busch does not want to give up that lead.
Whoa, he hung her.
Almost got into Gordon.
Woo. He got the right rear, boys. Not bad, though. Not bad. I think it's okay.
That's exactly where he hit it in practice yesterday. The boys had a lot of body work to do this morning.
Let's see what happens here. He's got Jeff Gordon down underneath of him, coming off with a lot of speed. He's okay.
He just scared the old M&Ms.
Yeah, I noticed that one M&M when he went by had his eyes closed.
Goodbye, down the straightaway.
Boy, he's having fun. You're watching from Jeff Gordon in the upper left live back at Kyle Busch. Now things have settled down a little bit.
Outside. Outside.
I was pretty sure that 17 car watching him before this last caution that he had a fast car. I think that tire was giving him a little concern, but now they got that fixed. Adios.
right behind the leaders. The battle to be the first car one lap down is a tight one. Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch. Here come them. Here they come. Excuse me. I get excited.
Here they come and there they go.
And all these cars battling to be the first car one lap down, where if we get the caution, they can be back on the lead lap. There's a whole pack of them here.
Yeah, that includes the 9 of Casey Kane, the 83 of Brian Vickers, the 28 of Travis Kvapil, all in one pack.
Boy, you drive that car way off down in the corner, but then you got to really play with the throttle middle corner and off to get the thing to hook up.
Now that's a battle for fourth right there. Jeff Burton in the 31 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. Those two cars are on the lead lap.
But they don't want to get mixed up in that hornet's nest right in front of them.
Well, these are anxious moments. You like to get this sorted out a little bit. You don't like all this side-by-side racing in this car because you don't have that much experience with this car. You're not real sure what it's going to do.
Ooh, Kurt Busch climbed the hill 3 wide. Jeff Burton tries to take advantage on the bottom and bust through these lap cars.
That's been Kurt's Achilles heel. Down there in turn 1, he gets it going pretty good, closes up, then he goes in and washes out with him.
But you were right, Mike. They were just on the verge of being 3 wide over there in a place that's tough to run 1 wide.
I think we might have an issue, guys, with the 48 car. I saw him really slow.
Well, I know they made major adjustments. Steve Burns was telling me during the break that they actually came in and adjusted the toe out on that car, just changing the position of the front wheels, trying to hit on something.
It did something. About hit on that wall over there just now.
Hey, we've just moved the evil part. Still got it in it.
Jimmy is way down the list, 38th. He is the last car 1 lap down.
And remember, he came in here trying to win 4 in a row here at Las Vegas.
Like that crew chief, though. No panic. We'll get it. Don't worry.
Only 3 times that a driver won 4 in a row on a super speedway. Bill Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson have done it. .127 laps complete. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch. Text RACE to 75555 to get your NASCAR Love ringtone, or go to jamster.com, keyword race, for details. Tony Stewart has walked out of the infield care center after a hard crash. Chris Devoda is with him.
Tony Stewart has just walked out of the infield care center. Tony, Jeff Gordon said on his radio, ouch, that looked scary. How scary was it? How hard of a hit? And which part of you hurts the most?
Just more legs down from my hips down. Just, I mean, that's the hardest one I've taken in a long time. It just blew a right front, I guess, and went straight. I mean, it didn't try to turn or anything. It was just a real tight part of the corner, but it hit so hard, it's got my lower back sore and made my legs almost feel about half numb, just tingle until we got to the infield care center. So, and we smacked it yesterday. I tried to knock the fence down yesterday in the nationwide race and thought I had made some ground on it and tried to finish it off just there, but it shows how good the softballs are. They don't go anywhere still.
Well, the fence is still standing, and so is Tony Stewart.
Thanks, Krista. Here's what Tony was talking about yesterday in the Candy Apple Red number 20.
That was a hard lick on the driver's side, but once again, right there in the area of that safer barrier.
And here's the crash today at lap 109.
Man, every time I see that, it gets harder.
Tony was helped from the car. You don't see the ambulance in the picture. You may question that. That's because the ambulance is parked down at the bottom of the banking. Rescue workers figured the safest thing to do, help him to a seat since he was ambulatory, and then get him to the care center rather than risk getting that ambulance way up there or anything else.
And we certainly give a lot of credit to the safer barrier, and rightly so. But there's a lot of other things. You know, the Hans device, the head neck restraint device, the cockpit of these race cars, seats like the Joy of Seating, Wrangling the Joy is building for a lot of these guys. All those things factor into Tony Stewart being able to be interviewed about 10 minutes later.
There's a look at the Hendrick seat, which is made of carbon fiber, a somewhat similar design, but very encapsulating for the driver.
You know how much that seat cost? $10 grand. $10,000 for a seat. We used to pay a couple $100 for a seat.
Now Jeff Burton has a reinforced aluminum seat.
Probably a Butler.
Several manufacturers of those. Brian Butler's company, one of the leading ones. And just a little bit of different thought on driver comfort and safety. And the seats extend all the way down about to the driver's ankles. There's very little of that driver. It's a body that's not encapsulated.
See that thing right there? That's a headrest. And we used to put those on the seat, but we didn't make them that long, made them about that long. What we found out in a crash is when you sprung forward without the horns, you come back around and caught your neck on the end of that thing, and sometimes it could cause you serious problems.
Daryl, at one time, those were not legal. You used to put Jeff Hammond in there before you leave pit road and bolt one on.
Yeah, we had a little one, you know, it was just a little bit of insurance if your neck got tired, a little something to lean on, but it wasn't legal. They wouldn't let you have it. Side mirrors, couldn't have a side mirror, had to have a little wink mirror or a little car mirror. I just learned through the years.
Matt Kenseth keeps picking him up and putting him down. He has 2.2 seconds on Jeff Gordon, who is 0.6 of a second ahead of Kyle Busch, and closing fast is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's moved up to 4th position.
Hey, I like how this one's looking. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. That's an American revolution.
Matt Kenseth continues to lead. He's led 27 of the 140 laps so far. But the fastest car on track right now, behind Kenseth, behind Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's lapping in the 31:30s. Everybody else is in the 40s, 50s, or above. Junior is in 4th place ahead of Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and back in 8th, Scott Riggs, who continues to have a great run.
That's a great run for that team, Larry. I mean, golly, it just shows. I think it shows what this car is capable of doing, though. With different teams getting the right setup, they can get up there and race.
Well, we know how important that relationship between driver and crew chief. I think Booty Barker, who we talked to earlier, is a good mix with Scott Riggs, and then the guy right behind him, Mark Martin, in that 8 car, qualified 3rd, won the Nationwide Series race yesterday. He's staying right up there in the top 10.
That's a little worrisome for me if I was a driver, that Mark Martin is still lurking back there in the 7th or 8th spot.
In 10th, Bobby Labonte has run in the top 15 all day for Richard Petty. He's about 13 seconds off the lead right now.
That's a backup car. They crashed in practice on Friday, so great job by that whole group.
Yeah, and Jeff Mandering has come over there as a crew chief, and I think he's making some headway. I mean, they had a good finish at Daytona. Here they are running pretty good again today. That's a great turnaround.
Ryan Newman 14.5 seconds back, and in turn 2 a car is hard in the wall. It is Robbie Gordon. Boy, now there's a fellow who has had a tough couple of weeks.
Yeah, he didn't need that at all, that's for sure. Nobody does, but he really didn't.
He would be in the top dozen in points, but for a penalty imposed at Daytona. You see Gordon has changed to Dodge this year and had some parts problems. Look at the top right of the screen as Gordon comes into view.
Oh, same look as Tony Stewart. Right front tire had to be down. The car would not turn. Now Robbie was running 1 lap down.
This looked like it popped it right front.
When Gordon switched manufacturers, they sent him some nose pieces for his race cars that had the same part numbers.
I'd say we're probably done for the day, but we'll see. Take a look at it.
Same part numbers as the approved parts, but were not the approved parts, and that cost him 100 points, 100 grand, and a 6-week suspension for his crew chief. The appeal will be heard this week of that penalty.
We were within about 20 laps of what have been green flag stops. So here they come.
Let's start with Steve.
Well, Mike, DW said Mark Martin was lurking. They're going to make very small adjustments to this 8 car. Just a small chassis adjustment to tighten him up. Dick.
Greg Biffle running in position number 5. The car first was loose at the tail end. Now it's loose all over. They're going to try to fix it with air pressure. Krista.
Matt Kenseth said his car is good into the turn. He's just a little bit off in the center. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment to fix that. Matt?
Kyle Busch, who has the very first pit stall, he says his car is too free on entry. Please try to tighten me up. If you can't do it, don't worry about it. I'll drive it anyways. They're looking at small tweaks with an air pressure adjustment, and Mike, also maybe a slight track bar.
You know, not all the sound and fury of NASCAR happens at 190 miles an hour. You'll hear the air wrenches hum as we crank it up on this pit stop. And Jeff Gordon side by side in the race off pit road. That's a close one.
It was a battle, absolutely.
Let's see who had the edge here. Matt Kenseth be back out front when we go green.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by UPS. Thanks, Dale Jarrett, for 7 unforgettable years. It's been a great ride, Dale.
UPS delivers up-to-the-minute race information at foxsports.com, keyword Fox Tracks. Next week, we go to one of NASCAR's fastest tracks, definitely the South's fastest track. That's Atlanta Motor Speedway, where the foot rarely comes off the throttle. Eastern time from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Be there. Jeff Hammond for more on some of the safety features incorporated into these Sprint Cup cars.
Well, Mike, we've been talking about it all day long, basically all weekend long, about the multiple crashes a lot of these drivers have sustained. And the way they're able to walk away from it, Larry McReynolds brought it up, it has to be, you know, a really good safety helmet as well as the head and neck restrainer, commonly known as the Hans, which allows that helmet to be tethered to the top of the shoulders in event of a hard crash, which we've already seen several of those recently. Everybody watched the one with Tony Stewart a few minutes ago and saw how vicious that crash was. Now, we talked about the capsulated interior of these race cars. Look at our Ford Fusion and look inside of it. We have one of those Randy LaJoie seats here with the restraints that you can see that hold the driver securely in the seat in the event of a crash. But the thing that you really want to notice is how this really wraps around the driver. You've got rib supports, you've got head supports, you've got the lower part of the seat here really is custom made to fit the driver's torso and run all the way down to the pedals and protect his legs to keep it where they don't flop around. All of these things are designed to make this as safe as possible. And guys, we've seen some pretty vicious crashes all weekend long, and from the start of the season, this is one of the reasons why some of these guys can walk away and have an opportunity to race tomorrow.
Jeff,
Mike?
when I think about Tony Stewart, I think about, I think it was 06, when he had those back-to-back Saturday, Sunday accidents at Charlotte, which led to having to get Ricky Rudd to step in and relief drive for him for a few races. So that's the downside to racing on Saturday. Come back and have an incident like that on Sunday.
Getting set for this restart, Darrell. There you see Ryan Newman in 11th. Carl Edwards hasn't made a lot of ground since his pit road penalty. He's up to 12th place in the 99. Martin Truex in the 70 of Jeremy Mayfield having a good top 15 run.
I think it just shows, though, Mike, when you're back in traffic, how difficult it is to get around. These cars are so equal. Once you get out front, you're all right, but in traffic, a little more tough.
Well, he's going to restart 12th with all the lap down cars. It's like restarting 24th at the beginning of a race.
18 lead lap cars as we go back to green. Matt Kenseth just makes it look easy. They're all jumbled up behind him. He's just driving away.
Yeah, there's one thing I can tell you right now. That 17 isn't hurting for motor because he's getting up off turn 2 over there.
Absolutely not.
And, you know, back a few years ago, we'd say, well, he's got a lower gear. But, of course, everybody here has got pretty much the same gear. You got 2 choices. They're pretty close together.
You're riding with Jeff Gordon, about 0.4 of a second behind the leader. Krista?
Remember early in the race when he was talking about how loose his race car was? Well, back around lap 100, he said he was a little loose getting into turn 1, but everywhere else was great. It just started to get loose again. They made a small air pressure adjustment on that last stop. Remember, Jeff Gordon won here in 2001. He's riding a streak of 3 straight top 5s. But he reminded me before the race started, hey, this is a whole new car. We're not focused on the track as much as we are on this new car.
He might want to be focused on his mirror because I haven't seen a driver so motivated to win at a track since Kyle Busch came home to Las Vegas this week.
Yeah, he's up on the wheel. We know that for sure, but he has several weeks, so nothing new about that. But motivation here is you're in your own backyard. That's a lot of motivation. He'd love to go back over that little school he was at the other day and say, hey, I brought y'all a trophy to look at.
And he did say certainly the Daytona 500 is on his radar, talking about Kyle Busch, but more so than anything, winning at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, his home track.
I don't know how I don't know what switch they flipped or what magic wand they got out and waved over him, but his temperament is so much better this year than it was last year. Just his overall attitude and his approach to racing is just so much more mature this year.
Riding with Jeff Burton in the 31 car back in the 5th position. Looking at the 4th place car, Greg Biffle in the 16. Again, Greg seems to have a pretty good race car on that long run.
But Larry, you mentioned the 9 car, and he has been hanging right there with these leaders. If he could ever get that lap back, he might not be he might be somebody to have to contend with.
Right now, he's battling Denny Hamlin in the 11, trying to get be that first car to get the free pass. Now, who is Horton?
You didn't read Dr. Seuss as a kid?
I didn't, I guess.
It's okay. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now the 6th place car, 3.7 seconds back of the lead, Matt.
Well, Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr., like a lot of other drivers, just trying to find that balance. It's almost like being on a fence. One adjustment sends you one way, and you just shuffle the problem from one end of the corner to the other. But he says, basically, my car starts out tight, then it goes neutral. Right now, though, he says after about 15 laps in a run, the car really comes in.
Well, I tell you, it's going to be time for these guys to get the right adjustments because we are quickly approaching the 100 to go lap mark. We're lap 112 to go now.
Kevin Harvick opposite Elliott Sadler there. Harvick is the 7th place car while Sadler is 1 lap down.
And how he got a lap down, Elliott Sadler, a lot like the car behind him, Kurt Busch in the 2 on that first round of green flag pit stops back in the lap 60 to 70 range. Elliott Sadler speeding on pit road, had to do a drive-through penalty.
I was worried about these guys getting on pit road. All their problems has been on pit road.
Scott Riggs continues to impress. He's been in the top 10 all day long.
He has. And not listen. The crew, the pit crew, they come in, they go out. They come in running 5th, 6th, 7th where they've been, and they go right back out in that same spot. So when the car runs good, the crew runs good.
DW, one thing I found out interesting this morning when I went down to the garage area to talk to Booty Barker was the fact that he was approaching today a little different than what they did a week ago. He said, Jeff, last week we had too much right rear spring. And we've talked about this during practice, how you got more right rear spring than you've got right front spring, which is just kind of contrary to what old school racing we grew up doing. He said today they softened their right rear spring about 200 pounds compared to a lot of other people that were racing here. And looks so far like that has been the great saving grace for the 66 car because he's been up in the top 10 all day long. And he says one other thing, Darrell, he said, I love my driver. We're on the same page, and it's paying off so far today.
Yeah, well, that right rear spring, these cars are turning off of the right rear. Our cars, we always turn them off the right front. We made that right front dig and turn. These guys do it off the right rear. They kind of swing it around the corner.
Now Carl Edwards is 1 spot behind Riggs. He is now, Dick, 7.7 seconds off the lead and trying to come back.
Yeah, and the good news, Mike, is that Carl Edwards' lap times are at this point as good as, if not better than, the leader. His crew chief, Bob Osborne, keeps telling him as he approaches cars, if he's approaching a lap car or a car that's for position. And right now, car number 66, Riggs, is the one that he is looking to pass to obtain the 8th position. All this is a struggle trying to recover from an errant tire loose on pit road that put him all the way back to 17th.
One thing I keep watching these cars. You think about our old car last year, Larry. When you get side by side, it was almost inevitable that you're going to suck the guy on the inside around.
Right.
This car does not appear to have that kind of a problem. They've been running side by
Trouble,
side.
backstretch.
Whoa, trouble. Round he goes.
Carpentier.
Oh, gosh.
Hang on to it, buddy.
Caution will fly here at lap 161.
Now, he did not start that incident.
The guy moved up on me.
Yeah, the car in front of him.
That's all right. That's all right. Let's take it to the garage, guys. Let's take it to the garage and get it fixed up. We're leaking oil or something.
I'm not sure who was just in front of Patrick, who's making his first start of the season in the Sprint Cup Series, but somebody came off turn 2, squeezed him right up in front of him in the wall, and I believe we're going to see if that was David Reagan and who was in front of the 6 of Reagan. There's Newman, Reagan, and watch the 10.
Oh, Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman, yeah. David Reagan absolutely did nothing wrong on the 6.
Newman just didn't give him enough room. You can look at it either way. Maybe Patrick should have backed off a little bit, or maybe Ryan should have, given him a little bit more room.
Definitely could have been a little more give and take there.
I think just that was a big deal right there. Somebody they didn't work very well together.
They will take the 10 car to the garage.
You can just see there, I think 2 things. If I'd have been in the 10 car, I'd have lifted a little bit. But he had a run on him. Figured, what the heck.
So he will join Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart in the garage area. We need to mention Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77s actually back out on the racetrack.
But just barely.
Barely.
They patched her up.
And the free pass will go to Casey Kane.
There you go.
Number 9.
I believe that's going to be a good thing for him, get back up there in that lead lap.
Darrell, we see how much track position is so important. We only have about 12 laps on the tires. I believe we'll see some 2-tire stops here.
These guys don't have as many tires, though. They only have 8 sets.
Steve Burns.
You'll see just a 2-tire stop on that 8 car. When the caution came out, Mark Martin said, my car was just getting good. But again, just right sides for Mark. Dick.
Greg Biffle is also going to take just 2 tires on the outside. He also called for a minor chassis adjustment. Engineers not making the decisions. The driver is, Krista.
The call is also for just 2 tires for the leader. Matt Kenseth, the 17, going with right sides only. Matt.
Air pressure change on the previous stop. No chassis adjustment. They wave that off, and they're going to wave off going for 4 here. No debate. 2 tires for Kyle Busch. The fuel's in. A little stumble as he lets the clutch out.
I just think everyone's seeing how important that track position is. And you know what? We're getting in the closing stages of this race.
Whoa, little slip and fall on Greg Biffle's pit stop there.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we'll pick you up. By the Ultimate Recipe Showdown menu at TGI Fridays. Give me more Friday. And by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Getting set for the restart, Brian Vickers and Denny Hamlin in front of race leader Jeff Gordon. Hamlin did stop, but it was a quickie yellow, which meant that everybody could stop the first lap that the pits were open. And Hamlin beat the race leaders off pit road. He wants to get back on the lead lap.
Well,
3 wide.
It's a great gamble, Mike, because right now is when there's the best odds of having another caution real quick.
Now, Paul Menard in that 15 car, he's on the tail in the lead lap as well. He would love to see a caution right now. He would be back on it.
Well, now's when you drive it like you stole it. If you can get up here and stay there and have a quick caution.
Elliott Sadler, too, just ahead of race leader Jeff Gordon, and trying to stay there in case the yellow flag waves again. You want to see the caution, you don't want to be the caution.
We got a side-by-side battle for second place, though, between those Roush Fenway cars. Matt Kenseth in the 17, Greg Biffle in the 16. They're going to split Elliott Sadler down the back straightaway in the 19 car. Bread and butter.
Boy, they're tight right there at that first little group there. 24 car, the 83, and the 15. They are all over each other.
Jeff Gordon is the race leader. And then number 24 trying to move through and pin these cars one lap down.
We have seen his
somebody got, is that the
That's Biffle. Greg Biffle in the 16.
Car. He got loose off of 2 over there, made some contact, I believe. Boy, it's a bad time for that to happen.
Carl Edwards may get past him here.
Yeah, he lost a lot of momentum with that little swerve he did down the back. Let's see what happens here. They get real congested.
Biffle inside of Menard, the 15.
Just pulled the car around.
Just got a little bit loose.
Yep. Had that thing pinched down off of 2.
Yep, real tight.
Trying to stay off of Menard.
A lot of wheel snapped on him.
He was running second. You'll see it here again. There was no contact.
No. It's just when you're under somebody, you got a lot of wheel turned into it to stay off that guy on the outside. Sometimes they'll snap like that.
But I just believe if that's our old race car with just that little bitty rear spoiler, we're under caution.
He's out of here.
Jeff Gordon has now cleared the lap traffic. He's out in front by himself. And Kyle Busch, coming off turn 4 the last lap, caught himself a little piece of the wall, just enough to scrape a little paint.
This car really seems to perform well when you can get out front like Jeff is. We've seen everybody. You know, Kenseth, we saw Carl. You get her out there, you drive off and leave everybody else.
Greg Biffle went from 2nd to 7th. Now he's tucked in behind his teammate Carl Edwards in the 99.
Jeremy Mayfield in trouble.
Jeremy was still on the lead lap in 19th position. No caution, though.
Got a right. Is that a right front?
Yeah, looks like, Darrell.
I think a right front's flapping over there. Looks like.
Hit the wall, did you?
Saw my flash fall the hell out of my tires there.
Sure did. That's too bad because Mayfield has been a top 15 car all day. Let's look at it from Jimmy Johnson's viewpoint.
Spin in front of you. Stay down, stay down, stay down.
I think that was Regan Smith that might have got into Mayfield.
Boy, watch Dig. Little Digger. Keep her low.
Jeremy stays out on the racetrack. He's still on the lead lap. As I mentioned, back in 19th, we've got 20 cars on the lead lap with Denny Hamlin in the 11 out front of our leader, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, that's a shame for Jeremy. Having a great run. And you know what? Can't believe he didn't hit the wall.
No. .173 laps complete this time. Jeff Gordon has now led 12. That's 2 times for a total of 12 laps. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
I feel the need for speed. More NASCAR on Fox.
After being a top 10 car all day, Scott Riggs spins in turn 4 and puts us under caution flag number 6 for car 66.
Let's see what happens here. He gets down to the 43 there. Bobby Labonte. Looks like that little thing we were talking about, Larry, how these cars are not so successful to spinning around. She spun around.
Especially when he was right on the inside of that car. It's like it just pulled him around. And then Darrell Franchitti in the 40 car, nowhere for him to go. See Mike Skinner in the 27 car just sneaking by. Mike slowed down. Franchitti did not.
No, he didn't slow down at all. I don't think he.
Digger. Duck.
Boy, Digger's going to get hazardous duty pay for this one. Digger went deep on that one.
Caution flag number 6 leaves us with 19 cars on the lead lap, and I believe Denny Hamlin's persistence at trying to stay out there and hang with Jeff Gordon is going to put Hamlin back on the lead lap.
I believe you're right.
Pit road is open, Steve.
Mark Martin is cranky, Mike. He says, I'm tired of this lap traffic. I want 4 tires or no tires, but 2 tires ain't working. So they're going to give him 4 tires. Dick.
Greg Biffle, after a masterful save on the Speedway, pits out of the 5th position. He, too, is going to go with 4 tires. They're going to try to tighten his race car up. As we near the end, Biffle will be on the gas, Krista.
Jeff Gordon said, I really don't know how to make this car much better. He is very happy with it. On the last stop, back on lap 163, they made a 2-tire change. This time, Jeff Gordon going for 4.
Kevin Harvick gambling and Carl Edwards are going to come out first. Then Martin Truex.
I think Carl Edwards, like Mark Martin, he's tired of fighting traffic. He wanted something to get him up there near the front.
And there's the race off pit road. You see Harvick, the big gainer, along with Edwards and Truex. A spin by Scott Riggs, collected by Dario Franchitti, and you are there.
With old Digger.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Toyota. Moving forward.
Getting ready for the restart with 182 laps complete in the UAW-Dodge 400. On Fox, here are your leaders, and here's today's All-State Good Hands driver. We nominate Ken Schrader. In the BAM Racing number 49, here he comes. There he goes. And here's a look at it from Fox 3D. Getting right up that close to the number 10 of Patrick Carpentier, and off he goes. So Schrader's our good hands driver today. Allstate, are you in good hands?
And you may say, well, no big deal. You go back, you see somebody spin out for 180 mile an hour, see how big a deal it is.
Pace cars in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex, and Matt Kenseth. Here we go.
There'll be a lot of crew chiefs, Larry, watching to see how this all plays out right here with the strategies these guys have used.
Again, I just got to believe that Carl Edwards, especially back there in that 99 as we ride with Dale Earnhardt Jr., he just was looking for that track position ever since he was penalized several laps ago for the pit road violation.
I just believe it, yeah, 99, and I also believe that, you know, the 17 got 4 tires. That's going to be the interesting scenario, is how he stacks up against the guy that didn't get any.
Because we are definitely down number-wise to where this is a 1 pit stop race to get to the end. Tell you, I'm pretty impressed with old Kevin Harvick in that 29 car. Had a good run at Fontana last week, finished 8th. Comes in here 7th in the points. The highest Chevrolet in the points right now. And Krista, looking pretty good maybe for a top 5, maybe a win.
Absolutely, Larry Mack. You know, Kevin said he's not a big gambler. He said losing anything over $5 is hard for him to stomach. Well, they've been gambling on these last couple of stops. Back on lap 163 when they came in, it was fuel only and adjustments, no tires. The last stop, just right sides. They were one of the teams that only took 2.
And you know, Krista got in my ear there when we were at break. I said the cars seem like they're just slower through the corner. Jeff Gordon told her these cars are 13 miles an hour slower through the corner than the old car was.
That's why they can race side by side and feel good about it.
Exactly, Larry. That was my point.
Jamie McMurray almost lost one coming out of turn number 4 as he went around Dale Jarrett. He made the pass, but Jarrett's car really upset the air, and McMurray made a really nice save. Let's show it to you. Watch the 26. Outside Jarrett.
Well, now he's already been for 1 ride off of turn 4. You know, he's lucky to still be going.
All right, so we'll make him our Allstate good hands, bad plan driver.
And I tell you what, Kurt Busch in the 2 car did an awfully good job too, because he was right there when Jamie came back across the racetrack almost.
All right, we see Kurt. Where is his younger brother Kyle, who started on the pole and has led 3 times for 56 laps today? He's in 9th place. Matt?
He didn't say aero push, Mike, but he might as well have said it because he said everything else about his race car. Stuck back in traffic. He said it's just so tight. Please free me up because we're going to be back there and I'm going to need something big to try to work myself back up to the front. And keeping an eye on tires, since we are counting down the laps to the finish, he's got at least 2 sets of sticker, meaning brand new sets of tires in his pit. And he also picked up an extra set from his teammate Tony Stewart's team.
All right, 188 laps complete, 79 to go. Let's check downstairs at the Hollywood Hotel for this AT&T race break.
Thanks, Mike. If you want to get an exclusive look inside the world of Richard Childress Racing, Jeff Burton and the 31 Chevrolet, thanks to AT&T, now you can. Using cellular video on your AT&T handset, you can access all the inside RCR contents.
Yeah, right now we take a look at Jeff Burton. He is still running in the 10th position. He's been up there, you know, challenged for the lead different times today, Chris. But right now the battle up front, you know, you've got to believe it. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's in the catbird seat. But I think the big challenge is going to have to come, you know, from back in the back.
Yeah, earlier in the race, lap 109, Tony Stewart, 2-time champion, in his Toyota with a right front tire that bothered him into the wall, taken to the care center. He was okay. Later talked with our Chris Devoto, called it one of the hardest hits he's gone through. But certainly with him out of the mix now, Carl Edwards, who's led quite a bit in this race, 36 laps. Matt Kenseth has led 48 laps, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to fight off Carl Edwards right now.
Yeah, trying to fight him off again. Carl, you know, taking on, trying to get that track position, took on a couple of tires. But I think your battle is really going to come later on from that 17 and that 24 car. Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon, they've been fast all day long. I think when it comes down to the push and shove situation, those two guys are going to be up there giving Dale Earnhardt Jr. all that he wants.
We have 76 laps to go. This has been an AT&T race break. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Well, Chris, there's a good chance that the Roush-Coutiers are going to be Vegas headliners tonight because Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth, second there and third, are coming after Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the lead.
Yeah, I like that 17 car. I mean, he got 4 tires on his stop. That's going to pay off big time as we go deep in this run.
You know, a car that we talked to him the other day in practice, and he said ever since they reconfigured this racetrack just a couple of years ago that he has struggled even finding a way to give feedback for this track. Martin Truex Jr., he's quietly been back there lurking. He just worked his way up to the top 10. In fact, Martin Truex Jr. in 1 car is in 6th right now.
Like Harvick, didn't he take 2 tires on this last stop?
Yeah, Kevin Mannion. I think now, we talked about this at the top of the show. In fact, it was one of our keys. Track position versus 4 tires. I think as this race winds down, I know you'd rather have 4 tires, but you just do not want to be stuck back in traffic.
The guy with the best luxury is that 17 car, though, because you know why?
He has both.
Well, he can get 4 tires, and about the same time it takes everybody else to get 2. That crew is fast. Here we go for a lead change here, guys.
Here comes Edwards after Junior, who's not had a top 10 finish here the last 4 races. Edwards to the inside and back to the lead.
And it's taken him about 85 laps to get back there, back on lap 109. Under a caution, he had a pit stop violation and had to go to the tail end of this longest line. It's taken him this long to get back to the front.
And here comes Matt Kenseth, his teammate, for second.
Boys are going to like it out west here. They're going to race out. They want to race out here all the time.
A lot of racing to go, Darrell. 73 laps to go here in Las Vegas. New leader Carl Edwards. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Las Vegas. 200 laps complete. Next time around, that'll leave 67 to go. Carl Edwards over his Roush Fenway Ford teammate, Matt Kenseth, by 0.6 of a second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's a 3rd place car, 1.6 off the lead. And Jeff Gordon, who was very strong early, has not been able to close back up. He's in 4th place, but he's 5 seconds back, just barely ahead of Kevin Harvick and Greg Biffle.
You know, Las Vegas is turning into typical Las Vegas. We've only got 67 laps to go. I'm hearing about a lot of these guys complaining about the cars not turning. I think we've got a lot of rubber down now. Plus, you look down in turn 1 and 2, it's shaded, and that's going to give it more grip and make the cars tighter, too.
Yeah, you're going to be better in 1 and 2 with the shade, but then the sun is beaming down on 3 and 4, and got to keep an eye on turn 4 because that's been pretty much the trouble spot all week. Here's turn 1. See how shaded it is. That increases grip, and I said yesterday, I'll say it again, it's like walking across your driveway, walk across the shaded part, barefooted, not too hot, walk across the part where it's sun shining on it, gets a little touchy.
Got a good battle shaping up for 5th here. Kevin Harvick, who was one of those cars that got 2 tires, trying to hold back Greg Biffle, who had pit stop trouble earlier. This is for 5th.
We talked about this several times earlier in the day. Greg Biffle, a 16 car, Greg Irwin, the crew chief, they just seem to have this car really good for the long haul, for the long run, and the long haul is getting shorter, 65 laps to go.
Oh yeah, the sand's about out of the old glass.
Only 3 cars in the garage. Tony Stewart after a hard crash, he is okay. Robbie Gordon also into the wall, and Patrick Carpentier, who spun into the inside wall. All drivers are okay. All 3 cars are done. Sam Hornish also hit the wall early, but he's back out on track and running. Here's Dick Berggren on the leader.
Well, every once in a while in baseball, you'll see somebody take a new position and another fellow will slip out of that spot and go someplace else. It's just happened with car number 99, Carl Edwards' car. The rear tire changer, Houston Stamper, who had started with this team at Daytona this year, has just been replaced by Kyle Lewis, who has come over from the 26th car.
Didn't have time to change the uniform, but he's got a new place along pit road.
Well, as I mentioned, we may only have one more pit stop. If we stay green, it'll come here in about 25 laps. So every pit stop's important, but if there's one that's more important than any of them, it's the last one.
Jack Roush has won 5 of the Cup races here. Rick Hendrick has won 4. We're talking car owners. And Chip Ganassi scored a victory with Sterling Marlin here in 2002. So Roush, Fenway, and Hendrick have pretty much dominated the proceedings here. And right now it's 2 Roush cars and 2 Hendrick cars and a 3rd Roush car. That's your top 5.
There you go.
To no surprise.
There's the cat in the hat, Jack Roush.
Who became famous with partner Wayne Gap as a drag racer for Ford in the 60s and 70s. A group of Ford engineers called the Thunderbolts would drag race on weekends, and Gap and Roush became quite famous. He turned his attention to road racing and then came to stock cars.
Well, he dominated road racing with those Mustangs. Holy cow, what did they win, about 7 or 8 Daytona 24-hour races and a lot of wins. Hey Larry, how big is this track?
1.5, but I know the next question.
not the way Kyle's running it.
Yeah, he's only about 1.4.
Now he's probably drafting off his brother now, but look, there he goes.
He loves that apron down the front straightaway.
That's how you time trial here, is you run down below the white line and get the shortest possible lap. I guess he's found it works pretty good in the race too.
You know, he did it once. I thought, well, he just check it out, but he does it almost every lap, really.
Now, I don't think that Kurt Busch will race his brother hard here, because Kurt Busch in the 2 car, again, about 140 laps ago, he's 1 lap down from a pit road speeding penalty. Right now, if the caution comes, he would get the free pass.
Oh, somebody's got his groove that time. Robbie Gordon was in his groove.
So the Roush Fenway cars are 1-2. Hendrick Chevy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 3rd. Matt?
Mike, 35-year-old Tony Eury Jr. has done a lot in his NASCAR career. After completing high school in 1991, he became the 6th employee at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He's won a couple then called Busch Series championships, a lot of big races, including Daytona 500. But last fall, he had to do something he's never done his entire life, and that's fill out a job application. Rick Hendrick made him go through the protocol. This is an actual Hendrick Motorsports job application. And on the back, he had to do something else, list a reference, and he put down his cousin, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, it's working out pretty good.
Needless to say, he got the job as crew chief for his cousin, Dale Jr. Carl Edwards 1.5 seconds up on Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 4 seconds off the lead. Jeff Gordon 6.6 back.
You're not going to believe the way this one ends. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Subway, where Tony Stewart goes to fuel up. Subway, race hard, eat fresh.
Debris in turn 2 puts us under the caution for the 7th time today. Kurt Busch, former series champion and native Las Vegan, will get the free pass. That'll give us 20 cars on the lead lap as the pits are open. Steve.
It's been a great day for young David Reagan, Mike. David said if you're going to make adjustments, just make them small. So it's just air pressure adjustments out of all 4 tires. Dick.
Because Carl Edwards took only 2 tires on the last stop. This time around, they've decided they have to take 4. They didn't want to. They knew they had to do it. Krista.
Matt Kenseth said he's swinging loose in 1, but in turns 3 and 4, he is money, and that's appropriate since it's Vegas. 4 tires for Matt Kenseth. Jeff Gordon also in making a 4-tire change. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. too concerned about making his car too free. A great battle off pit road. No changes for the 88.
Matt Kenseth wins the battle off pit road, but you saw a tire roll away, and that tire had been rolled across pit wall for Carl Edwards and somehow bounced free and rolled back.
And that's going to be a penalty probably, boys.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Pennzoil, feel the clean. By the Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by Dish Network, never miss your favorite shows with a Dish DVR. 50 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, Matt Kenseth, 2-time winner at this track, currently the leader, but Carl Edwards was the leader moments ago. He's led the most laps in this race. Jeff went into the pits and we had problems with a tire. That tire we showed belonged to his crew.
Yeah, it belonged to his crew, but I think right now what we saw a minute ago on some of the replays that maybe NASCAR is reviewing what happened here. Notice the gentleman right here across the wall getting ready to play catch. Here comes the tire from the right front. If you look right there, there's a cameraman. It's not a Fox guy. He was out, it was in his way. You can't have that happen, and that's one thing as far as the crew chief. Man, I would have been irate. It was not the guys who was catching its fault. It was the cameraman who was in his way, and all of a sudden it may have cost Carl Edwards an opportunity to win this race, but right now NASCAR was reviewing, and hopefully, you know, they're going to make a really good judgment call. You see Bob Osborne, he's back there saying, guys, take a look. We brought the tire back. It was coming the right direction. It's not our fault.
Right, Bob Osborne, the crew chief,
yep.
Carl Edwards, and you saw the NASCAR official was standing right there where the photographer, again, not a Fox cameraman, was in the way.
And again, I mean, I just feel for Carl Edwards and his entire team right here because I've had that happen to me before, and I was ready to kill.
A former crew chief. Let's listen from audio transmission inside Carl Edwards and the 99 car.
We had a tire roll back out on the infield again there, and people got in our way when we were trying to get it, so we couldn't get it, is what happened. It wasn't that we didn't catch it. It's the crew people that got in our way, the film crew people.
All right, so that was Bob Osborne with Carl Edwards and the audio transmission. So Carl Edwards currently third, so the ruling there probably isn't going to be a penalty. Isn't that the right call for NASCAR?
I think it's the right call right now because it was not the team's fault.
Kenseth leading Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, and Kevin Harvick. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Matt Kenseth, Dale Jr., Carl Edwards. The way they came out, Jeff Gordon's going to move up, Carl back as we get set to go here. It'll be lap 219 completed. That'll leave us 48 laps to go.
Well, I believe the right call has been made, though. I mean, if they're going to leave Carl there, I think it's the right thing to do. That was obstruction, and it was no part of the team's fault. So, you know, that guy shouldn't have been there. And he's not even a team member. So
I applaud NASCAR's call.
I think that's a good call, boys. I'm all for it.
Getting ready for green. Ford, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Chevy, Ford. Here we go.
And I do need to mention that pit stop right there came with 52 to go. That's within the window of being able to make it to the end.
3 wide into 1. Jeff Gordon on the high side.
Boy, Junior, he drove in hard trying to get a run on Matt. He couldn't do it, and it cost him, man. He took off up the racetrack.
I'll guarantee you Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got both hands and feet up on that steering wheel right now.
Well, he was all over it trying to get after Matt, and the car took off on him, but he's rallying back here off turn 4. I think it's going to take an extra special effort to be able to get after that 17 car, though. He is on a rail.
He's got the 17 out front. He's got the 99 in the rearview mirror of Carl Edwards.
Jimmy Johnson, our defending champ, has had a tough day, Larry.
Yeah, 33rd, 2 laps down. Came in here trying to do 4 in a row. It will not happen today, I don't think.
Steve, what's happening with that car?
Mike, it's more like what hasn't happened with that car. His car has been tight from the center off, unstable on entry. It's been loose on exit. In fact, it's got so bad, the caution previous to this one, Chad Canal said, let's just make this a pit stop practice.
It's about all you can do at this point because you obviously can't fix it. There's something technically wrong with that piece.
Tell you what, there's a car in the picture with him, that white number 28 car of Travis Quappo, but he is not racing Jimmy Johnson because Travis is still on the lead lap, up in the top 15 in the 14th position here with 45 laps to go. Great run, had a good run last week.
Yeah, had a great run, made good call in the pits. Todd did, and Todd Parrott, and man, he's looking good again today. Not too bad, boys.
So the Wisconsin driver going to get a birthday present this weekend.
I tell you what, we've been talking about Roush Fenway. This little 6 car, David Reagan, he's been sitting there in the top 15 all day long. Right now he's working on Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. That's a battle for 11th.
You know what that boy in that 6 car needs? He needs to be able to close the deal. He's had some good runs. Got to sit there in that last few laps and get it done.
Now he has had some good finishes when he finishes. Second generation driver out of Georgia. And that's where
Trouble,
we're going
turn 3, guys.
2-car crash.
Brian Vickers in the 83 car.
Woof. Boy, that was close.
Was that Skinner?
Mike Skinner.
Mike Skinner.
Just got through there.
That bad boy Moore was about ready to mow him down.
Get it going here.
I think it was Casey Mears who was involved up there.
Casey
with
Mears got
Vickers.
into Vickers, yeah. They went in that corner side by side. Mears pushed up.
Caution flag number 8.
Ready, get ready. Put some tires in this thing. I saved it. We're all right. Just put some fucking tires on it real quick before the car gets back around.
What do you suppose?
Here. I blew the right rear off of it.
What do you suppose
we got only get 2 laps down.
Pulse rate is right about now?
Wow. In racing, we'd say he's hitting the chip.
Here's a look at it. The 5 inside catches Vickers.
Yep.
5 car just walked up a little bit, and as we've documented the entire race, you know, you're well over 180 entering into turn 3. It doesn't take much.
I'll bet his pulse rate isn't any higher than Mike Skinner's in the 27.
No, I'm telling you.
Who just missed it.
Good job on Skinner's part, not to panic. That's what you got to do in these situations. Just drive through it.
Spin in front of you, spin in front of you, stay down, caution.
From Casey Kane. Now that white and red car ahead, that's Skinner.
Check up, crash
How
in front
close
of you,
is it?
He's coming down the track. He's coming down, stay high. You're all good right there.
Got the 18 car on pit road.
Pit road is open, yep.
He wasn't very happy with that car, Larry. He was sliding back.
Pretty much everyone else stays out, and I think that could be pretty normal through this last run, keeping that track position.
Here comes Kyle Busch, Matt.
Mike, he's been saying on the radio the last 2 runs, the car is just gone from one side being extremely tight. Now it's extremely loose. Just trying to find a medium there. It's just too tough today. Now the sun is setting, the weather's changing, and then being stuck back in traffic. He has experienced it all today. He says it's just wrecking loose.
Mike Skinner can come in for 4 tires and 1 pair. Shorts, that is. They're about to restart with 40 laps to go. NASCAR on Fox in Las Vegas. Next week, an even faster track, Atlanta Motor Speedway, next Sunday on Fox. Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, teammates. Leading teammates Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon to the green flag.
Man, that 17 gets a jump.
Every restart.
He does that on the restart, and it really, really shows up over there off the 2 with all that speed he carries.
because Carl Edwards in the 99 still trying to clear the lap down car. He'll clear him there, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
That's Clint Boyer in a backup car to the inside. Here they come, and as they go by, why don't we crank it up one time? Carl Edwards coming for the lead.
Boy, and he is coming too. He's got a little bit higher line than Matt, and it really helped him get out of that corner and make some straightaway speed here.
Darrell, that car looks just like his car looked at Fontana. Right there, the car just almost rotates and just turns, and he's able to get that throttle back. Now, Matt had to run that time on the high line off of turn 2.
Well, that's good. That's good work by the driver and the spotter. He's saying, where's he running? Where's he beating me?
Matt Kenseth has led 63, make it 64 laps today as they come around. Edwards has led 56.
You know, Matt's used to being in these kind of fights here at Las Vegas. Jimmy Johnson clipped him at the line here a couple of years ago to win the race.
Didn't want to force the issue there.
He stuck that nose in there, but he decided better. We still got 36 laps to go.
I believe if Matt can hold the Carl off for a lap or two, Matt's car just really picks up as it goes along. Whoa, boy, Carl's got the nose under him now. Now, just remember, these two guys have had a little run-in last year, and they've resolved all that, and we talked to Carl about it in the pre-race show. No hard feelings here, but they got to race each other clean.
Both of them just 2 laps ago ran the fastest.
Trouble two, Jarrett into the wall backwards.
Hold that brake, coming inside.
Caution.
I'm sorry, guys.
We know Dale Jarrett spun out on the last lap last week in California. Similar situation. Not sure what happened.
9th caution of the day for former series champion Dale Jarrett. And watch that 44. He's the 3rd car from the back there.
Right in front of Kyle Busch. The 18 car just walked up the racetrack.
That's, oh, man. And
boy, David Gilliland just got by.
What a great job.
Well, let's ride with DJ.
Boy, I tell you, we're lucky there.
Boy, what a sick feeling. Been there, done that.
Look at the car still coming at him.
Coming inside.
He's almost in the worst possible spot. He's got the 22 right up in front of him and the 18 right behind him, and just almost lifted his car up.
Plus, Darrell, we've talked about the wind gusts today. They haven't been much of a factor, but that's the one place where the wind is hitting that car square in the side, right there in turn 2 where Jarrett broke loose.
Exactly. I think there were a lot of forces that were at play in that accident.
Now, I don't think we'll see pit road very busy, because with that caution there, we only have 10 laps on our tires. We're going to see some guys near the back like Bobby Labonte. Ryan Newman hit pit road, but all of our leaders are staying out.
Casey Mears will get the free pass, and we'll go back to green with somewhere right around 30 laps to go. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. We are 1 lap away from the restart. Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards continue to lead here, working the 9th caution of the day for Dale Jarrett's crash. Casey Mears gets the free pass. If you've got a NASCAR question anytime, anything you want to know, go to the coolest NASCAR website ever at foxsports.com called Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot. Just type in your question, and Darrell, Larry, or Jeff are there 24/7 to answer it for you. Let's have a listen to Matt Kenseth. under caution here.
We stay out, I can run about 4th probably. Maybe 2nd, but probably about 4th. It's pretty tight.
Sound like to me Matt Kenseth was trying to be a salesman there to Chip Bolin, that I'd like to come get 4 tires, but I think Chip Bolin is looking at the fact we've got 22 cars on the lead lap, 32 laps to go. You're not going to get back there. You pit now and all those guys stay out.
Yeah, I think that's where, though, if I was Chip Bolin, I'd come back to him and say, Matt, listen, you got the best car and you're the best driver. Now get up on the wheel and let's win this thing.
If I was Chip Bolin, Matt's been telling me you make the decisions, I'd say, Matt, just made it.
Just
stay
made
out.
one, that's right.
And what will help him is that the 16 cars behind him stayed out.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in good shape.
So,
I think Matt sometimes goes worst case scenario.
And if he's tight, the best place he can be is out there in that clean air.
Just get another one of those good restarts and drive away.
Green flag with 31 laps to go.
And he does. He just shoots out there every time. Of course, he's got the advantage of being the first cat to go, but he does do that.
He and Edwards get away from the traffic.
There's several lap cars between Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. You can see him right there sandwiched behind them.
I think the reason it's probably tightening up, the track is tightening up. The shade's gotten more and more in turns 1 and 2, and the track's cooled down quite a bit from what we had at the start of the race.
Cooled down about 12, 15 degrees.
In the last 5 races here, Matt Kenseth has finished no worse than 8. He has 2 wins here.
Yeah, I agree totally with Chip Bolin. We got a car up against the wall over there coming off turn 2.
Whoops. It was Franchitti. He keeps going.
Got a lead change here. The 99, I mean, 17 went in the corner a little hard, shoved up the hill, and man, Carl went flying by.
Carl Edwards led 64 laps at California. Ended up in victory lane. He just led his 57th lap of today.
That car just turns so good. But I think Chip Bolin's thinking is, if we come to pit road, Matt Kenseth's crew chief, I don't even think we can get back to 2nd.
No. That's all. You're at the front like that, you're locked. You can't do anything.
Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is less than 1 second from the leaders, Matt. Does he have anything for those 2 Fords?
Trying to regroup and gain back some of that lost real estate, Mike. He said he spun the tires big time on the restart, but he says his car is just so free, it's like his tires are cement blocks. No grip whatsoever, Krista.
Well, Matt, back to the other Matt Kenseth. He had said that basically he was a sitting duck with that 99. In fact, the word he used was toast. He said he's going to beat us unless something breaks. Matt actually was laughing as Carl passed him on the racetrack. Dick?
As the race nears its end, the leader invariably starts worrying about things, and Carl Edwards has just keyed his radio and told the crew, I don't want to run out of fuel. Bob Osborne, the crew chief, told him that wasn't going to happen.
I got to tell you something. Bob Osborne, you know, I kid him all the time about being like a dial tone. He's just flat all the time. And I'm just playing with him, you know. But I heard him last week. I never heard him cheering so much and screaming on the radio. Totally out of character.
All the way to victory lane.
Yes, he was.
Carl Edwards 19th in the Daytona 500. The win at California last week. Finished 9th in the chase for what was the Nextel Cup last year. But he had 6 top 5s in the last 13 races, including 2 wins and 2 runner-up finishes.
There's no question he and Matt Kenseth, I mean, they were just class. They were really good at the end of last year. And I said earlier, I don't know what they did to Jack Roush, but somebody got him.
Save your stuff. Be good here. 64 is 83.
Now, what Bob Osborne is telling him, not to save fuel. That's not an issue. Just save the tires, save the car in case we get another caution, because now we're committed. We're staying out to the end of this thing. Let's have a little bit left.
And his 64, that's 30.64 seconds. What Osborne is telling him is he's a quarter a second a lap faster than Matt Kenseth. So no need to run too hard.
Right now, Matt Kenseth is not.
Stuff, bud. Let's save it for a little bit here.
Matt Kenseth is not worried about Carl Edwards anymore. He's worried about that 88 car right there that's pulling up to his rear bumper, because right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the last few laps have been just a little faster than Kenseth.
I totally agree with what Bob's telling Carl. I understand, but don't get out of your rhythm. I mean, you got a good thing going. Don't get out of your rhythm.
And sometimes, Darrell, when you try to slow the car down and ease it through the corners, you end up going faster.
Well, it's like preventive defense, you know, when you got the big lead and you set on the ball and all of a sudden the other team catches you and you say, whoa, I wasn't ready for that. Just keep doing what you're doing, dude.
Fourth is Jeff Gordon. He's 3 seconds back. So is Kevin Harvick. Craig Biffle is 4 seconds off the lead. And Jeff Burton 5. You see the interval come across at the top of your screen. That is the number of seconds each of those cars is behind the race leader.
I know who I want to give the Attaboy Award for the weekend. We're riding here right now. Casey Kane in the 9. Had a terrible race car on Friday. He qualified back in 37th position. He spent more time in the infield care center, but fighting flu. He gave up his ride yesterday. He got a lap down. He got back on the lead lap, and here he is up in the 8th position. Great job by Casey and that entire Gillette-Evernham group.
And he is charging, too. I mean, he's not holding anything back. Of course, it's the end of the day. You're not going to. Watch this. Squeezes himself right up behind the 15. And
Paul Menard couldn't get out of the way quick enough.
Yeah. That was Paul Menard is a lap down. And Casey wanted to get up there and race Jeff Burton for 8th place. Will it be another backflip day in Las Vegas? We'll see. Carl Edwards is our leader with 21 laps to go.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. Put some NASCAR in your car with the One, Mobil 1. By Subway, where Tony Stewart goes to fuel up. Subway, race hard, eat fresh. And by Sprint, welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful.
17 laps to go in Las Vegas. Carl Edwards leading Matt Kenseth by 1.7 seconds on the UAW-Dodge 400. In 2005, Edwards won 3 times on mile-and-a-half tracks, twice at Atlanta and once at Texas. He's not won on a track this size since then.
That car is just a smooth running car right now. I mean, the thing is working to perfection. It sounds great when it goes by here. Everything on that thing is working, including the driver.
Well, the Sprint Mobile monster moment of this race had to be the close call for Carl Edwards on pit road. When the right front tire carrier rolls this tire across, it comes bouncing back out onto the racetrack, but NASCAR adjudged, and correctly after reviewing the videotape, that someone not from their crew, a photographer who was trying to be positioned out of the way, inadvertently interfered, and they let Edwards hold his position, and then he came by for the lead. So the race changed in an instant with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Follow the race instantly.
And second place just changed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 car with 15 laps to go just drove by Matt Kenseth in the 17 with his sight set on Carl Edwards, but old Carl Edwards sitting out there right now.
Get that chrome now. Let's go get him.
There you go, 2.5 seconds out front.
Calm down, calm down. Don't get excited.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9th at Daytona, 40th at California. Nice rebound here, but he's 2.4 seconds back of Edwards with 14 to go.
Another good run for him in Atlanta next week. If he can close the deal here, he'll be locked in on getting up there in the top 10 in points, even with the finish last week.
Did you see that little courtesy wave that Carl gave to Matt when he went by there on that pass? I like that. Thank you, buddy.
Let's have a look at yesterday's winner. Mark Martin battling Travis Kvapil for 10th place. That's been a pretty good battle as we get down into the
pretty darn
stages.
Good job by that white car with nothing on it.
Kvapil made the pass and goes after David Reagan.
But another good run for David Reagan. We talked about him a while ago up there in that 6th car. Now Paul Menard in the 15 car is actually a lap down, but a great run for David Reagan in the 6th. And as you mentioned, we head to his hometown next week at Atlanta. Paul Menard, he just cannot get off turn 4. He can't get out of the way quick enough in that 15 car.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're trying to get around somebody, you know, that's having that kind of a problem. Don't want to get in something, and there's Reagan right on his back bumper. He needs to make this pass and move on.
There's the Roush Fenway running order. Pretty good day for Jack Roush and crew, but now Matt Kenseth.
We got a car in the wall.
Kurt Busch, and I mean, he has pounded it.
Caution will wave here with 11 to go.
Boy, that car is skinny. Look at that thing, Larry.
Has all the look that a right front tire did go down on that 2 car.
My.
See Kurt moving around in the car. He is okay. But his Penske mount is used up.
Boy, I'll say he hit that thing a ton.
So we'll be inside 10 laps to go for the restart, which means a single file restart. And watch the blue deuce. Here he is, middle of your screen.
This is where it's gonna. This is when it hurts the worst. You're right in the middle
there.
of the corner.
You saw it when it blew.
Yeah.
I mean, dead in the middle of
right in the middle of the corner. You're already back in the gas.
And Kurt again had worked his way back onto the lead lap.
It would be just like somebody walking up to you and poking you in the gut as hard as they can when it does that.
He worked for 163 laps to get back on the lead lap and was running 15th when that tire let go.
Kurt came in here 4th in the points, only 36 points out of the lead.
Let's get down to the Hollywood Hotel.
Thanks, Mike. Guys, this is an AT&T race break. We are under caution, and 10 caution flags, the record for this racetrack at Las Vegas, and we have now tacked on to that.
Yep.
And let's take a look at just some highlights. Carl Edwards back on top. We've had quite an interesting race in the first half. The story, Toyotas. Carl Edwards here battling Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, as he led some 50-plus laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 17 laps in this race. Tony Stewart in the first half led 6 laps. Kyle Busch coming back to take the lead again before sliding back on lap 109. Tony Stewart, a right front tire after he complained that the car was tight into the wall, a hard crash. And after going to the care center, Tony was okay, out of the race. Meanwhile, Carl Edwards' pit problems here, they are penalized.
They're penalized because that right rear tire got away from them, went back across the center of the race car. But on the second time by, another tire gets away from him, but a cameraman, not a Fox cameraman, got in the way of the guy catching the tire. You see the tire rolling across on the quarter mile.
NASCAR reviewed, said no penalty. And then Carl Edwards passing Matt Kenseth, his teammate. And moments ago, that last caution, let's listen in.
You can hear that right front tire when it exploded on the number 2 car, sending Kurt Busch up into the outside wall. You see right there, he's still, I mean, basically not groggy, folks. I mean, yeah, you hit the wall that hard. Daryl and Larry were talking about, it's like getting kicked in the stomach. I mean, it just knocked all the wind out of you. I mean, the big white flash type deal. I mean, it really is a hard impact.
Kurt Busch, of course, Las Vegas native, with Kyle Busch, who we showed had a good first half to the race, but has faded. What's been the story with Kyle Busch's Toyota?
I think really they're just chasing the racetrack and they went the wrong way and they haven't got it back. The racetrack started cooling down. Their car wasn't ready for it and they hadn't been able to keep up on the adjustments. Again, a young team still learning their way as far as what they need to do to the race car. So, you know, they got some more time to kind of come together, but that's really what I think put him behind so far. But this bunch right here with Bob Osborne at the helm, Carl Edwards, they are just running unbelievably strong here today.
Carl Edwards won back-to-back races just one other time in his career. Mike talked about his success in 2005 at Atlanta and then the following week at Texas. The intermediate tracks, right? The mile to 2 miles, just a mile and a half track, something that at least Ford has had a focus on. We saw that last week in Fontana.
Well, I think, you know, Roush, Fenway as a whole, but Jack Roush told me this year, Jeff, we're prepared. Last year we didn't quite get up on our COT program or the new car program like we needed to, but now they got a 7-post. They're doing a lot more engineering, and you got to believe, we'll take a look right there at the owner, Jack Roush, cat in the hat we like to call him. He's got a huge stable of cars and they're working together as a team. Daryl talked about teamwork earlier today, how important that is, and we've seen a lot of the first part of the season where once again it's coming true as far as today's concerned, because Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, a lot of the Roush cars, just for that caution, they had 5 cars in the top 10 right there with basically 11 laps to go.
Carl Edwards has led the most laps today, 76, but the most important one still lies ahead.
right,
Before we throw it upstairs, what should we look for with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind Carl Edwards and then Kenseth, Gordon, and Greg Biffle?
Hey, it is Las Vegas. It's time to go gambling, baby. No caution to the wind. Now it's time to get up on that wheel and put some pressure on that number 99.
And since it is Las Vegas, Mike, Larry, Darrell, a 6-to-1 choice. You could have bet that prior to the race for Carl Edwards. Anybody have that?
No. But at the top of the day, we talked about the wind being a factor in turn 2. It much hasn't been. Maybe for Dale Jarrett's crash, but otherwise not a factor. But Darrell, you called it. Turn 4, Calamity Corner.
Yeah, and it historically has been. So when you look at these racetracks, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, even when they made the change here, that's a tough corner. Probably one of the toughest in racing.
Larry, Carl Edwards had a chance at the weekend double, but his chance to win yesterday got taken away from him.
Yeah, he had a good race car, but once again, Carl showed why he's such a great guy, is because this happened with about 4 laps to go in a Nationwide Series race, battling for the lead with Brad Keselowski. Mark Martin in the 5, who went on to win the race, gets in the back of him, but Mark showed he's a gentleman. He got the victory lane. He said, look, we're not celebrating this. That's not the way we win races. Carl Edwards said he knew Mark Martin would not wreck him on purpose, but I think he also knew Carl Edwards had a good race car today.
Tonight on Fox, an all-new Simpsons at 8/7 Central, and an all-new Family Guy at 9 o'clock, 8 Central. That wasn't our gopher, was it? Also, so. King of the Hill and Unhitched, the series premiere. Dick Berggren.
Bob Osborne has been warning Carl Edwards, watch your outside. He's very good on the outside. He means Earnhardt. The driver Jed said, no problem.
Carl Edwards won back-to-back races in 2005, both on mile-and-a-half tracks. Atlanta and Texas in the fall. He's going for 2 in a row.
What you have to watch now on this restart is your right side. These D-shaped racetracks, you've got a lot of room once you start down here toward the start-finish line. If you drop down to the inside, you've got 3 lanes to your right over here that the guy behind you can get a run on you.
They've waved off the restart. They'll go 1 more lap. In second, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who finished second here in 2003.
But the thing when I think about Dale Earnhardt Jr. is I think he's loving the opportunity to get 1 more shot at that 99 car. Even though he had a lot of success at Daytona, winning the Budweiser Shootout, winning the Gatorade Duel. Remember, he has not been to victory lane in a points event in almost 2 years. Richmond in May of 2006. It's been a long dry spell.
And you know why I feel pretty good about where he is and he's pretty confident? Because when Tony Jr. told him, go get him, he said, calm down. Like, almost like assuring him that I'm going to go get him.
Yep. Behind him in third, Matt Kenseth, who has always been good at this racetrack. And in fourth, Jeff Gordon. Gordon's led 19 laps today.
This changes everything, Mike. This last restart it's a crapshoot here, boys.
Now this is a single file restart because we're inside 10 laps to go. Means only lead lap cars up front, and we'll have 5 laps to go when they get the green.
All right. The other thing, Darrell, they've got 30 laps on their tires. Everybody's pretty equal, but you've got to make sure you don't spin those tires on this restart.
You can hear the engine. That's what they're doing right now. You'll burn those rear tires. You don't want to do that when you get around here for the real.
How about Casey Kane? Started in the back, backup car, sick, not feeling well. Jason Keller standing by. Got a free pass about at halfway, and he's had a top 10 finish the last 2 races. So Casey Kane with a big rebound here. He's running in 8th. And good news that Kurt Busch checked over at the infield care center and released.
Right now the crew chief says clean them up. Let's get them cleaned up. Don't spin your tires on the restart. Don't miss a shift. 5 to go.
Green flag.
Whoa, Junior didn't go.
He did not get a good restart. Matt Kenseth took advantage of him on the high side. There goes Gordon on the inside. They're going to split him going into 1.
Boy, I think Junior may have spun the tires, Larry.
And what a break that was for Gordon, but look on the high side. Oh, Gordon comes up.
Oh, he got Kenseth. Oh, and there goes Jeff. Jeff's in the inside wall, hard
into the wall. Caution will wave. Caution will wave. The field is frozen. We'll be coming back to 4 to go.
That was, and he almost got clipped again. What a, I told you, it's a crapshoot.
Cautions breed cautions.
So we're looking at Jeff Gordon. You can see he's already taken his steering wheel off. He's letting his window net down. That's the whole radiator out of the 24 car, the entire radiator.
That car, that just
And
knocked
look where it's at in relationship to the car.
Last week we saw a guy get his carburetor knocked off. This week we see a guy get his radiator knocked out.
What happened to Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski yesterday on the front stretch has now happened in turn 2. Jeff Gordon trying to hold the bottom, and he and Matt Kenseth get together. Watch the 17 and 24.
It all started with this restart. I mean, this gets everything bottled up, and now it's just like a real rat race down here into turn 1. Jeff's on the bottom. Here comes Matt up on the outside. I think Jeff just shoves up right there, gets into him ever so slightly. And look at Greg Biffle slide by, but that inside lick on the inside wall is what tore Jeff's car all to pieces.
They're going to stop the field in turn 1 so they can clean up turn 2. Here's another look. And you're right, Darrell. Jeff's car just pushes up, won't hold the bottom of the racetrack.
Couldn't hold it down. And this thing goes in here, and it hits an opening. That's why it knocked. That's what happened.
Oh my God!
It hit that opening, and it just ripped the front end off of it.
There's no safer barrier there.
No.
Now Jeff is okay. Let's ride along in his Chevrolet.
3 wide, go above you. Still to the outside, still to the outside. Clear.
Oh, my.
That was one hard lick, but you could hear him playing with that throttle all the way through 1 and 2.
Well, here's what I heard. He went into 1. He almost tried, like he almost didn't back off. Then he had to play with that throttle a little bit off of turn 2. And the car wasn't biting. It just wasn't getting enough grip. But that opening right there, that could have been disastrous.
Let's watch this unfold from the restart. You'll see that the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. does not accelerate with the 99 of Carl Edwards. And that puts things in motion.
I believe he probably spun his rear tires, I think is what happened.
You see, Junior speed just doesn't build quite as quickly as Edwards. And here they come.
He spun the tires.
Exactly what we talked about. Kenseth got that run on the high side right there, and like I say, Jeff car just walked up just ever so slightly.
Jeff was trying to get enough throttle in it to get up in front of him, but he just didn't have the grip down low like that.
Now watch the 16 Biffle and the 29 Harvick.
Oh, they do an incredible job, especially Biffle there, sliding by on the outside.
And I know a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, isn't this the same thing that happened at Chicago 2 years ago? Totally different situation.
You know, and I think Matt's okay. I don't think he got his car torn up.
No. And Jeff did get out of the car okay under his own power. Darrell, the day is going to come when we have that safer barrier around the inside and the outside all around all of these tracks. As far as I'm concerned, it can't come soon enough.
Well, when you got an opening over there like that, you ought to have some sort of protection for an incident like this. You say, well, the car will never go there. These cars go where you never expect them to.
All right, one thing that I want to point out, you see we're under red flag conditions, and these cars are parked up on the banking. Matt Kenseth is actually down on the apron. In the fuel cell, the pickup is in the right rear corner of the fuel cell. That way when you go through the corners at speed, the fuel goes over to there. Remember, all of these cars pitted with 52 laps to go, which is right there on the fuel window. I'm already getting a report that Greg Biffle has told Greg Irwin, I think I'm running out of fuel. I think the problem right now, all the fuel has run away from the fuel pickup.
I was just going to tell you, I think he's right. I think he's run out of fuel because he went by here with fire flying out the right side tailpipe like a car that's starving for fuel.
Jeff Gordon had only one DNF, did not finish in all of 2007. He's just been knocked out of his second race of 3 in 2008.
Check all your gauges. Coming this time. Pull the belts real good. Green flag. Green flag. Tempo, bud. We'll get you fixed up here when we get a caution. Got a spin here on the front.
Go, buddy. That was a good one right there.
He crashed any minute.
High there. Car up high there.
Something definitely wrong with this car.
Just settle down and relax.
We're glad you're watching with us. NASCAR on Fox from Las Vegas. The red flag is out with 4 to go. Carl Edwards, who's led the most laps, trying to win back-to-back races. Currently your leader as you get a look at the top 10. Jeff Gordon said in the pre-race that his car was finicky. Now it's finished for the day, Jeff Hammond. And I guess along with Dale Earnhardt Jr., it appeared that Matt Kenseth, they were trying to lay back just a little bit with Edwards in that restart.
Yeah, it looked like everybody was trying to do a restart basically from Daytona. Everybody laying back a little bit, trying to get a run on one another. And unfortunately, in the 88 car, he didn't go like he needed to. Dale Jr. spun his rear tires, and all of a sudden he got split by the 24 and the 17. And next thing you know, when they came together off of turn 2, well, guess what? The end result was not very good.
And Kurt Busch, we believe, okay. Jeff Gordon, okay. 11 cautions, which is a track record. And those 2 hard hits that we saw recently. And Jeff, wasn't it Clint Boyer in yesterday's practice session also went into that little opening in the track?
As Darrell said, you know, you don't need to have those kind of things around a racetrack because these race cars will go where you never dreamed they could go. And we already saw very quickly that when Jeff Gordon got inside that back wall, all of the front radiator, I mean, just everything exploded like it did. And if he had not been hitting it glancing blow like that, it could have been very detrimental maybe to Jeff Gordon, because I mean that's not what you want to see with a race car hitting a wall head on, Chris.
And earlier, Tony Stewart, a 2-time NASCAR champ, out of the race on lap 109, hitting the wall as well. So with Carl Edwards, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick, and Jeff Burton, that's your top 5 as we stand under red with 4 to go.
Under red right there, we see right there Carl Edwards sitting beside the pace car, believe it or not. He's not been stopped for a citation or anything for all the violations he's had today.
There's been a lot of violations for a lot of people today, but certainly not Carl Edwards. So let's check in with Tony Uri Jr., who is with our Krista Voda. Krista?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, down here on the 88 pit box, Tony Uri Jr., the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr., talking to his boss, Rick Hendrick, deciding what's going on, what happened on that restart, and then also what's going to happen here, obviously in Vegas. Everything's a gamble, so we want to know, Tony Jr., what's going to happen on this restart? Does your driver have anything for that? Does the 88 double 8s have anything for the double 9s? So you're kind of rolling the dice.
We'll see. I mean, it's the cars are pretty equal. I think we got a little bit better car on the long run. So, we'll see. We're just having trouble hooking up on the restarts, spinning the tires and that sort of stuff. So we'll give it our best shot. I mean, Dale Jr.'s the one I'd want behind my wheel, so I think he can make it happen.
So does that mean you have to be conservative at all on this restart, or is there any such thing?
There ain't no such thing. I mean, at this time of the race, you just got to let it all, throw it up on the table, and what happens, what happens. So, that's basically what they did on the last restart. So, everybody's wanting to be in this position, and we're here. So we're excited and proud of all the guys for all day's work.
All right, they're telling the dealer, hit me down here, Dick Berggren.
Yeah, I'm with Bob Osborne, who is Carl Edwards' crew chief. Well, you survived the last restart. How about this one? How's the game going to be played?
Well, I hope we survive it just as well. That's the plan for sure. The 88 didn't really get the greatest of restarts, and it let us get out in a little bit of a lead there, and it kind of bottled everybody up and got a little congestion there and caused the accident. But you'll have that big-time auto racing.
Is he fast enough, or does he have to protect the outside for fear that somebody's going to come by and get him?
Well, on the restart, yes, we're just doing that for precaution. You never know what happens. You could slip up just a touch, and somebody gets to the outside of you, and then you get into the situation we just had. So we're trying to keep that from happening, taking every precaution we can to make sure we get victory here.
And your driver knows how to play this game for sure. Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Dick. And don't forget the Simpsons coming up next, except for those of you watching on the West Coast.
Very unique trophy right there. It doesn't get really a trophy like we're normally seeing. They get a championship belt if you're able to win here in Las Vegas. And
looks like a lot of Vegas bling.
It does, a lot of Vegas bling right there. One thing we want to point out, you see the 17 car sitting there on the racetrack. He is still on the lead lap. He is not. He lost a bunch of positions. He's dropped all the way back to 16th right now, but he's not out of this thing yet.
Jeff, listening to the crew chief, and you can use a Vegas term, all in at this point, but does Carl Edwards have an advantage with his teammate Greg Biffle, currently third, in between Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Well, he's definitely got Dale Earnhardt Jr. kind of like between a rock and a hard place, but Dale Jr. knows that Greg Biffle is going to race him clean, and the main thing he needs to do is just get a clean restart so he can get up there and put some pressure on that number 99 car. And Carl's got to be careful of not doing the same thing. If he happens to spin his tires, he'll just give it right over to Dale Jr., and then Jr. will be off to the races for himself. So this thing's a long way from being over. And I want to point out something else. There's two RCR cars sitting back there. They're basically they're waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and they're going to just basically swoop in there. That man, Jeff Burton, he ran second here a year ago, so he knows how to win here. He knows how to get the job done. So I wouldn't count either one of those RCR cars out yet either.
Jeff Burton has won twice here in Las Vegas. Kevin Harvick hasn't had a top 5 finish in quite some while, currently fourth. So where's the dividing line with just 4 laps to go then? Is it the top 5 as far as ruling out anybody who has a real shot?
What we've already seen is the guys that were running 1, 2, and 3, they got all bottled up and wrecked each other. So no, I wouldn't count anybody else in the top 10, because if Carl Edwards spins these tires and Dale Jr. gets in the back of him and all of a sudden Greg Biffle runs in the back of them, you never know what's going to happen. This could trigger one of the biggest wrecks we've ever seen in Las Vegas. And on top of all that, we've already had a record number 11 caution. So it's pretty much, it's wide open.
And if this played out the way we stand, Carl Edwards would lead, and it would be the first time in his career that he would be the points leader, and it would be the 3rd straight week that we've had someone lead for the first time in their career. Kyle Busch coming in, and after week 1, of course, Daytona 500 winner Ryan Newman.
Well, we talked about 2008 being kind of like a year of surprises, and I think so far it hasn't let us down with Ryan Newman winning at Daytona. Carl coming back there like he did at California. And again, if he can win 2 in a row, I mean, that would be so impressive. But the cat in the hat, he has had a lot of winners here at Las Vegas, so he knows how to put together the right kind of engine combination with the right kind of aero package to get to victory lane.
Adjusting his hat on cue. So it looks like a Ford Chevy here. At least that's who has the top 5. And there are no Toyotas. Well, actually, Denny Hamlin just snuck in at the 10th spot. And yet Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart had some pretty good runs earlier in this race.
They look very, very strong. But let's give old Denny Hamlin a little bit of love there, because he was down a lap early on, struggled. They kept battling their way all the way back up to where they're running in the top 10. And, they need to kind of turn this season around, because they have struggled early in the first 2 races. So it's good to see him back up there getting the job done. And the guy that also we got to give a little bit of holler at, Elliott Sadler, got caught speeding off of pit road, not into pit road, but off of pit road in this 19 car early on. He battled all day long, finally got his lap back, and he is now back up there just outside the top 10. So a good, I guess you might say, effort not only by Casey Kane, which is his teammate from Gillette Everham, but also Elliott Sadler, because remember, I picked him kind of as a long shot.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon's car being hauled away, and I mean,
totally destroyed, I might add.
With all the things you talked about, you and Darrell in the pre-race show, and Larry talked about wind and debris, and the pit road concerns. We've had a number of violations with pit road, whether it's been tires or being caught speeding.
Well, it's just that time of year. I mean, everything until you see the wind continues to blow here at Las Vegas. Fortunately, it hasn't been the big culprit that we anticipated. A lot of guys were a little bit more concerned about it, but we've had some ill-handling race cars, so we don't know for sure if we can hand all that off to the wind or not. But it has been a very unpredictable day. If you don't believe me, go ask Jimmy Johnson, who has struggled from the drop of the green flag.
Yep.
So it's been a really unpredictable day. We see Jimmy sitting there inside his car, probably trying to figure out, I wonder if they got a back door out here. It's probably kind of embarrassing for him and Chad Canals to run like they're running, especially with Jeff, their teammate, up there contending for the win until this last accident.
2 laps down, Jimmy Johnson was going for his 4th straight win in Las Vegas. Who will win? The answer may be blowing in the wind, my friend. But next week, we move on to Atlanta, where Jimmy Johnson swept last year, right? Both races. Yep. You can hit speeds of up to 195 miles per hour. Our coverage Friday was Sprint Cup Series practice on speed, and then the qualifying, the Craftsman Truck Series. On Saturday, Nationwide Series qualifying on speed, followed by Sprint Cup Series practice. And Sunday, NASCAR Race Day on speed, and then the Cobalt Tools 500 on Fox, followed by NASCAR Victory Lane on speed. It's our coverage of NASCAR throughout the weekend across the Fox family of networks.
So you mentioning wind, does that mean since we're going to Atlanta that we're going to be NASCAR's version of Gone with the Wind?
Gone with the Wind, Tara, right. We'll visit Tara on the way. Let's visit the booth. Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Joy. Guys?
Well, Chris, the wind blowing very hard from turn 4 to turn 2. How much contact did Jeff Gordon make with Matt Kenseth? That little black mark right there is all we can find on Kenseth's car. He just touched him.
You can just see, if you watch, I think you might even see just a little smoke or dust. Just a little bit. See that little trail off the back there? Just that's all it took, though.
As we've said all day long, it doesn't take much at those speeds.
Well, we've always said in the middle of the corner or at exit like that, reach out with your finger and touch that car, and it could go around.
Kenseth's car again is undamaged and continues, while Gordon certainly got the worst of this one.
Boy, that's incredible how that car flew apart.
Let's take you back to the restart and go all the way back to turn number 4. The drivers are supposed to be tightly bunched here.
And that's what we see, and that's what Matt Kenseth was complaining a little bit about. Jeff Gordon laying back. It looks to be like Matt Kenseth might be laying back a little bit to me. Now Matt's up there. Of course, here they come. So really and truly, the whole problem was with the 88. When he didn't go, that opened up everything. That's what turned into a mess.
Now let's listen to Dale Jr.'s car on the restart and see, was he laying back or did he spin the tires? Listen.
Spun them big time.
It was even against the rev limiter, Chip.
That's when it was spinning the tires. This thing's got 850 horsepower. You better have those rear tires cleaned up and ready to go. That's what we were talking about as they were coming around to get the green.
Looks like the cleanup crew is done in turn 2, and they had a lot to clean up because radiator, oil cooler, lines, everything flew off the front of Jeff Gordon's car.
Fired up.
Again, I'm still going to watch closely because I think with everything that's went on here, we've got some cars that are going to be a little close on fuel. Maybe some that's going to be starving for fuel till we get back up to speed.
I'm just worried about that 16 car. Like, when he went by, he had it cut off. That's why the fire was coming out of the pipes, and you've already heard him say he thinks he might be out of fuel.
21 cars are on the lead lap. They include Ken Schrader, Juan Pablo Montoya, who's fought his car all day but got the free pass on the last caution.
That's the reason you see them getting down on that apron on the flat, because that's giving that fuel an opportunity to get over there to that right rear corner rather than up on the banking running as slow as they're running.
Well, we park them up at an angle like that too, Larry, so if the battery happens to be weak or whatever, you can coast down the hill, pop the clutch and get it cranked up. So serves a couple of good purposes.
Jimmy Johnson has asked for a push to get restarted. He was stopped down on the apron, and he gets one not from the wrecker but from Kyle Petty. That is perfectly legal, by the way, except once the white flag waves, you're not allowed to receive any assistance.
No assistance on the white flag lap.
So it looks like we're either going to race the last 2 scheduled laps here, or if they open pit road and then give one to go the next time by, we could go into overdrive here.
I think Matt's got some. I think his right side tires are down. I know pretty sure his right front is.
Yeah, you can see them all wrinkled up.
And the right rear is too. That was from some of that spinning he did back there.
And pit road is open.
He's lucky all he's got to change his 2 tires though.
And I guarantee you, these guys that's close on fuel, they absolutely hope we don't go into overdrive and run more laps than we're scheduled, because they're banking on this thing only going 267 laps. When they come by this time, we will get the 1 to go. It'll be 3 to go. That'll mean 2 laps of racing.
You get them cleaned off, though, bud. Let's get a good restart here.
Bob Osborne to Carl Edwards, as Kenseth is the only taker on pit road.
He had no choice. I think Carl Edwards would be pretty good on a restart. You know, you run all the dirt races like he has, you kind of know what to expect, get your tires clean, get ready to go.
And I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. knows what to expect.
He learned
now.
the lesson, I guarantee. I bet he's spinning them now, but they're over on the back straightaway.
I tell you, I'm like Jeff Hammond. You've got those 2 Richard Childress cars sitting back there 4th and 5th just waiting for the fireworks to happen.
It's another team day. You got the 99 and the 16 running 1st and 3rd. You got Dale Jr. and then you got the 2 Childress cars. I mean, you got these guys grouped up. Teams.
Jeff Burton's had a great day coming back to run in the 5th position with 3 to go.
Wouldn't count Casey Kane out of making another move or 2 here either. He's 6 and he's pretty good right now.
Started 37th. There you ride with Casey now.
With the flu. A bad case of the flu.
He got over that.
I said that earlier.
He got over that when he got that lap back. He got over that.
Will it be Carl Edwards for the 2nd week in a row? Will it be Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the first time in nearly 2 years? Will Greg Biffle break through? Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Casey Kane. We're about to find out as we'll get the green flag with 2 laps to go.
Yep, Vegas is where fortunes are won and lost. Somebody's getting ready to win one.
We'll know in 3 miles.
Green flag.
Much better start by the 88 that time. No wheel spin that time.
Kevin Harvick laid back just a little bit in that 29 car on Greg Biffle. Dale Earnhardt Jr. staying right with him.
Look at Biffle go the outside.
Biffle gets a run on the high side.
I don't know if he can make that stick or not.
But the high side is where those Fords have been their best all day.
Boy, Carl's shot out of a cannon down the back straightaway.
There goes Biffle up to the second groove. He just can't get the bite up there. They'll be coming white flag this time. 1 to go.
I believe Biffle's going to make a run on Junior as they go down in toward turn 1 here. He's looking around. He's looking inside. He's looking outside.
You got good gap here. Run away with it.
Biffle's to the outside of Junior off of 2. Can't quite get there.
He'll have one more shot as Carl Edwards pulls away. Half a lap to go.
Carl's loving this. He's looking in the mirror saying, bye-bye, boys.
Harvick coming into the picture.
See you at the casino.
Single file. Biffle looks high.
Whoa, Biffle.
And for the 9th time in his Sprint Cup career, Carl Edwards will go to victory lane.
2 in a row. Way to go, Carl.
Hey, what? We had a side-by-side battle for 6 between Casey Kane and David Reagan.
It's over for sure, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, 10 forward. Checker to waving here. Good job.
Jeff Gordon has been released from the infield care center. He is okay after that hard crash. And Carl Edwards scores the 5th win for Jack Roush at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
I got to tell you, Larry, that Bob.
Carl Edwards, great job. Great.
That Bob Osborne led crew is doing a whale of a job.
Man, that's a pleasure.
And they overcame a lot today. They really did.
And here is Steve Burns with Jeff Gordon.
And Mike, good news for Jeff Gordon. He walks out. Jeff, that was a wicked shot you took. Tell us what happened.
Well, you know, it was a little bit my fault. I didn't want to be on the inside there. My car was really too tight. I wanted to get a run on the outside, but when Kenseth and Junior got side by side, I had the momentum. I went to the inside. I got down to the bottom and thought it was going to stick. I got in the gas and I drifted up into Matt and hated that happen. But I got 2 things to say. Bruton, you need soft wall and to change the wall back there on the back straightaway. Thankfully, Hendrick Motorsports and everybody that's DuPont Nicorette Chevrolet builds an unbelievable race car because that's the hardest I've ever hit.
Glad you're okay, Jeff.
Carl Edwards gets to do the backflip. He will go to victory lane as we show you the entire lead pack coming across the line as we finish 400 miles here at Las Vegas. Here is Edwards, half a second ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is half a second ahead of Greg Biffle, with Harvick closing in 4th, Burton in 5th.
Look at that battle for 6th, though, between Casey Kane and David Reagan. We just got the scoring update. David Reagan did beat Casey Kane back to the line for 6th.
Look at those team cars. Childress, Roush.
Here we go again.
Carl Edwards doubles down and does his 2nd backflip in a row. For the 2nd week in a row, he's a winner, and for the first time in his career, he leads the Sprint Cup points. Carl Edwards in victory lane with Matt Yoakum.
What a main event performance by Carl Edwards. Survived a pit road miscue, a crew member shuffle, and then that late race restart. How would you describe this big win?
It's just very special. I got to thank Dish Network, everybody at Aflac, Office Depot, Under Armour, Ford. It's great to be driving a Ford Fusion, the City Financial Group. I was just trying to hold off Dale there at the end, and man, I just can't thank everybody enough. This is a cool belt. I'm gonna see. We're gonna give it to Joe Karazinski. He's going into surgery. He's not gonna be with us for a while, and maybe he'll let John Cena use it for WrestleMania or something. But everybody back 40 records. Everybody at home, thanks for everything. This is an amazing couple weeks.
For the first time in his career, he takes over the championship point lead to Dick Berggren.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., certainly you wanted to win the race, but a good finish nonetheless.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I'd worked my tires up real good, and I had the car about where I wanted it there the last little run. That red flag just really killed us. We were terrible on cold tires and we're sliding around. Greg almost passed us. He kind of lifted and let me get it there. You know, he got on the outside of me and I was pushing real bad, but real frustrating. We had a good car. I'm proud of my team. Everybody at the guard and AMP Energy, we really needed to get a good finish today. This was really paramount to anything else, just getting what the car could give us. But I'd have liked to have had a shot at Carl on some hotter tires there. We might be able to do something with him.
Well, they were sniffing the wind, came close to it.
Thanks, Dick. Dale Earnhardt Jr. jumps 13 spots. He's 10th currently in the point standings, and the Richard Childress cars, Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton, Jeff Hamlin are 5-7 in the top 10.
Yeah, everything looking really strong right there. You take a look at Brian Vickers. Again, Tony Stewart, even though he had his problems, just staying right there as far as 11th is concerned. But when you think about Carl Edwards, Chris, you think about the luck bank right now. Great run at California. Got lucky today because of that one call on pit road made a difference for him having an opportunity to stay up there toward the front. So I'm wondering whether or not he can ride this hot streak right into Atlanta next week, because he's won there before. He's really fast so far this year. So could he make it 3 in a row?
Well, Jimmy Johnson was going for 4 in a row here, certainly taking a tough hit. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart did not finish the race. Maybe, obviously, Carl Edwards and the Roush Fenway Fords are the team to chase, not Hendrick Motorsports, not Gibbs Toyota, at least early.
Early on right now, it's really been like a huge surprise. Jack Roush said they were ready, they were prepared, and so far they're looking very strong.
Tonight on Fox, an all-new Simpsons. They're in search of a rat. Don't look at me like that, Jeff. And then after King of the Hill, a Family Guy getaway with a lot of action, followed by the premiere of Unhitched. It's all new starting at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Another flippin' win for Carl Edwards. For Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers for Digger. Hope you'll be with us next Sunday from Atlanta. We are leaving Las Vegas. Promotional considerations provided by